Yourself a good. Welcome back, Greg.
Hi, Lee. Welcome back, Lee.
Welcome back.
How are you?
Double Trouble's back. We're
I'd
good.
say the text machine was on fire this morning. So
yes.
back,
What time's Greg coming in? Because we miss him. We love him.
No, I mean, like, Lee, welcome back.
Look at the love that you got this morning. Cup of tea, coffee, everything.
But what did Caroline say? That's only because it's the first day back. No more after that.
Well, sure, that's nice to get you bedded in, isn't it?
Nice wee 90s tune there. I went down a 90s rabbit hole last night. Yesterday in the car, listening to 90s music.
What other ones stood out for you?
Oh, Tone Lock. He might be late 80s. Funky Cold Medina. Random.
That's pretty good, eh?
Yeah.
I might play that tomorrow.
Unfinished. Well, I wouldn't.
Why? Funky.
Third verse is a bit dodgy.
Why? What's dodgy about that now?
Well,
it's just time's moved on
just play it.
Just go mad. Don't listen to the third verse. It's dodgy, Greg Hughes says.
Yeah, and the second verse too.
It's all dodgy.
Yeah. Well, it's innocent enough, like.
Yeah. But you know how we're very sensitive nowadays.
Yeah. Well, I'm not.
No, but some people.
Society is. But
yeah,
I'm all right. Come here. Not all of society. Up here, we're different.
Yes. Yes,
anyway,
of course.
Did you enjoy your week off?
Did I?
What did you do?
I got rid of the skip. Yay!
Did you?
Oh, she was loaded, Daddy. I was going to send you a picture from the kitchen window. Yeah, it was.
Mine's still not been collected, but it is full.
Oh, no.
They gave me to last Monday, but they must have forgot about me.
Now, come on. So you had yours before mine. Do you know?
It is crazy.
God, but they say there's a statistic out there: 1 in 5 people uses other people's skips. They sneak stuff into it.
Aye, but that would be in an urban environment, wouldn't it? That wouldn't happen, would it?
You better wear, because people know now you have the skip.
Well, I have one neighbour I know used it, but
does he?
I am related to him. So
all right, that's okay. Did he ask?
Not.
No, he didn't, because you hesitated.
It was sort of went, can I put a few things in to the entire house is now sitting on top of the skip.
Yeah, it's like my dad. Yeah, I'll just have a few things and then he'll be sneaking down and lift the boot of the car and up she comes and says, what are you doing? I said, you need money for you for this now. Better go. Let you go.
All right, Lee, take care of yourself. It is the 9 till noon show and we'll get a news update now. It's over to Donald Kavanagh. Hi, Donald.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. 2 teenagers have been killed in a road crash in North Inishowen. A third person was injured in the crash, which happened overnight near Dunedin. With more, here is Aoife Kearns.
Emergency services were called to the scene at 12:45 this morning. The single vehicle crash happened on the R238 at Terrawee in Glenealy. An 18-year-old man and an 18-year-old woman were pronounced dead at the scene. A third person in the car at the time has been taken to hospital with injuries which aren't thought to be life-threatening. The Glenealy to Culdaff Road is closed as Garda forensic teams prepare to carry out a full investigation. Local diversions are in place.
Gardaí and Buncrana are appealing to anyone who may have witnessed the collision to contact them. Any road users who were travelling on the R238 in the early hours of the morning between midnight and 1am and may have camera or dashcam footage is asked to make that available. Anyone with information asked to contact Gardaí and Buncrana, the Garda Confidential line or any Garda station. More than 4 in 10 people want a home care scheme paid for by the person receiving the care and the state. That's according to a new poll by Sage Advocacy. As the Commission on Care begins reviewing provision here, there are plans to introduce a statutory home care scheme which could involve a payment. Mark Mellett is chair of Sage Advocacy. He says more than 8 in 10 of those surveyed believe home care is overly concentrated on private providers.
There's a surprising number who actually believe that too much of the current care provision is provided by the private sector, with very little, less than 20% provided by state. There's a huge support for the idea of a kind of a GAA for care, whereby the institutions, civil society at community level should be more involved and more enabled to provide care. So you have that balance between government, between the market and also between civil society.
It now seems certain an age limit will be imposed on the use of e-scooters. The Transport Minister, Eamon Ryan, had initially ruled it out, saying that without a mandatory age card system here, any law would be unenforceable. However, the Irish Examiner reports this morning the Road Safety Authority, Gardaí and the Justice Minister have intervened and e-scooters will be limited to over 16s when new laws are enacted. And there are fresh calls for a living wage to help combat poverty. Social Justice Ireland says higher welfare rates and affordable state housing will help eradicate childhood poverty. Spokesperson Susan Rogers says we're building up problems for the future by not addressing poverty issues now.
Cheap, affordable, sustainable, social or public housing. That's so necessary, I think, if we're going to put a dent in any sort of child poverty figures. There's been research done about children living in homeless accommodation who miss their milestones. These things are impossible to do when you're in a small hotel room. We are building up trouble for the future because we're not looking after these children really as well as we should do.
Well, the forecast at Éireann tell us to expect scattered showers and occasional sunshine today. Some of the showers heavy with the possibility of spot flooding in places. Cool with top temperatures of 9 to 11 degrees Celsius in a moderate to fresh westerly wind. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with more at 10 o'clock. You can keep up to date on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
Umi muhacán agus ceist a bheith agat nuair atá leanamh ar an mealach. Be Carol le fóil ó cheanúlathe sláinte ar do chruas. Agus ó mychild.ie ó aimimeacht na seirbhíse sláinte. A caróig leat san ihe. Cibé rud a tharlóí. Agus ó thuairthaigh tuairde de rihan lei, mother leis na ceistena go léir. Táimid an sin can cabhú leat. Mar sin, té chuig mychild.ie le cóirla a oil. Ó aimimeacht na seirbhíse sláinte.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. And now it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning to you. It's 5 minutes past 9 on this Monday, the 6th of November 2023. How are you all keeping? I do hope you're very well indeed. You're very welcome along to another week of the 9 till noon show, and it's great to be back. And a big thanks to Donald Kavanagh, who, as always, steered the ship with great skill. And it's good to be back, though, as I say. And the lines are open: 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and texts to that number. Give us a call on 07491 25,000. And if you want to email the programme, comments at highlandradio.com. We've lots coming up, as you can imagine. But if there's something that you want to talk about, something you came across at the weekend, maybe an act of kindness, anything you want to talk about or spread about the Northwest and beyond, all those contact details are good for that too. Right, let's look at the front of the newspaper. Start with the Derry People Donegal News. The 6-week review of Letterkenny University Hospital's emergency department got underway on Friday following concerns for patient safety. This comes after 78 GPs, subsequently backed by 11 consultants, sent written correspondence to the Health Minister Stephen Donnelly imploring him to take urgent action at the hospital's emergency department amid service collapse fears. And of course, whilst much of that letter was focused on the emergency department, particularly the consultants, in adding a little bit more to the text, said that this is the service collapse risk is because of the amount of people that are leaving the hospital. And I'm sure many of you out there today who were under the guise of one consultant or another who no longer is at the hospital are wondering about your future treatment options. Sligo University Hospital perhaps is going to be where you are going to have to go for endocrinology services, for an example. A lot of people now left in the lurch. I'm not sure what this review of the ED will do in relation to that. It's much wider than that, but look, it is a start. And I asked during the week, last week, what people's experiences were, because people were having mixed experiences there. And some saying the wait had become much shorter, or they were being moved around the hospital whilst waiting a bed off the chairs and all that. So I asked the people on social media if that was the case, and some horror stories of people still enduring really bad experiences. Obviously, as well, by the way, people have good experiences, but lots of people having bad experiences as well. Well, the consultants and the GPs, reading on here, they called on the Minister and senior officials to step in and have an external review of the emergency department carried out and an action plan put in place regarding access to the department and acute services. On to the Derry news this morning, and is this something that affects you? Derry and Strabane District Council received a total of 556 noise complaints last year, with the majority coming as a result of animal noise. Now, that's an awful lot, isn't it? That's well in excess of 1 a day, heading towards 2 a day. Animal noise accounted for 240 of the complaints. The second most common was music, televisions or parties, with 91 other neighbour noises other neighbour noise had 55 complaints, making it the third most common. There were 34 complaints about entertainment premises, putting it as the fourth most common. Construction sites, demolition work or road works was fifth with 18. On to the nationals now. And the Irish Independent, Israel, yesterday rebuffed growing international pressure for a ceasefire and said its forces had encircled Gaza City as the top US diplomat scrambled to contain a crisis that threatened to cause further escalation in neighbouring Lebanon. Gaza was was under unprecedented bombardment from Israel yesterday, Palestinian news agency WAFA reported, while Palestinian telecommunications company Paltel said that all communication and internet services had once again been cut. Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas joined international calls for an immediate ceasefire at a meeting with US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, who was making an unannounced visit to the occupied West Bank. And there's a lot of people really need to get off their backsides and work a little bit harder here. 4,000 children have been annihilated, obliterated, murdered over the last, since October 7th. 4,000 little children, along with 6,000 adults, 10,000 in total. That's what we know of. And yet still the overnight bombardments, the all-day bombardments continue to wreak devastation and destruction on the majority of people who are just innocents. Shocking stuff. After Mr. Blinken repeated US concerns that a ceasefire could aid Hamas, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ruled out that unless hostages held by Hamas were released, there will be no ceasefire without the return of the hostages. This should be completely removed from the lexicon, he said there. On to the Irish Times and recruitment crises, you could call it, I think, in primary schools. We have figures to show how bad it is. 800 vacant teachers' jobs in primary schools. An unprecedented shortfall of more than 800 vacant teacher posts across primary classes is undermining the education of pupils with the greatest needs, according to a survey of more than 1,000 schools. As a result, most schools say they're being forced to plug staffing gaps by redeploying special education teachers to cover for absent teachers in mainstream classes, leaving vulnerable pupils without support. Others are using unqualified staff or students to fill gaps. The survey of just over 1,014 primary and special schools, was it 1,015, was conducted in the first week of October by the Irish National Teachers Organisation in conjunction with the Irish Primary Principals Network and the Catholic Primary Schools Management Association. Now, I'd imagine that the problem is more acute in the likes of Dublin, but it's not. We aren't immune to it up here either, of course. The Irish Daily Mail this morning, the number of people hauled into court this year over unpaid TV licences has already surpassed the whole of 2022. There's been a massive increase in refusals to cough up for a licence since the RTE scandal over payments to Ryan Tubridy broke this year. Figures released to the Mail show that An Post has applied for 11,941 summonses this year, of which 10,413 were brought before a judge. For the whole of 2022, An Post applied for 14,915 summonses, but just 9,610 were heard. This means that 803 more people have appeared in court so far in 2023, with almost 2 months still to go. Are you still refusing to pay your TV licence? If so, why? Have you had a knock on the door? Are you prepared to go to court? There's an awful lot of people who are refusing, and I'm sure many of them are in our part of the world here. On to the Irish Sun this morning. Ukrainian refugees may face social welfare cuts and have to pay for their housing under new government plans. Officials aim to bring in measures before the end of this year in a bid to slow the numbers of those arriving from the war-torn country. Taoiseach Leo Varadkar explained to media during his visit to Seoul, South Korea, that details are yet to be agreed by Cabinet. He said that almost a third of the 500 to 800 Ukrainians arriving each week previously had temporary accommodation in another EU country. So there's between 5 and up to 800 Ukrainians have safety and security in another country, but they say, right, we're going to go over to Ireland now. He insisted that Ukrainians are still welcome here, but said measures are needed to cope with the large numbers. He told reporters any Ukrainian coming to Ireland is not going to be turned away. That's not going to happen. The situation that we have at the moment, though, is that the numbers have been very large. And as I say, particularly those who were safe in another country then coming on to Ireland. But we'll see. On to the Irish Daily Mail this morning. Sorry, it's the Mirror. Micheál Martin wants to serve in another government after the general election. Speculation, although that being said, there is no other answer. If he was sitting in front of me now and I was to say to him, do you want to be in government after the next election? And he went, no. where would it go from there? It would be very poor for Fianna Fáil. So invariably, he's going to say that, of course, he wants to be in government after the next general election, even if he has an eye on another job. Speculation over the Taoiseach's future has prompted suggestions that he might seek to become Ireland's EU Commissioner next year, or could even contemplate running for the Irish presidency in 2025. Mr. Martin, whose party held its Ardèche in Dublin on Saturday, which interestingly the Israeli ambassador attended as well. It was held on Saturday. He insisted he's still committed to politics and enjoys being involved in decision-making within a government. He told RTE, I'm going to lead Fianna Fáil into the next general election. But as I say, obviously, that's what he's going to say. And finally, returning to the Middle East and Ukraine, both stories really combined here. The Israel war in Gaza is taking away the focus from the conflict in Ukraine and playing into the hands of Russian leader Vladimir Putin. President Vladimir Zelensky warned yesterday. He said the switch of attention from the conflict has also been the Russian president's aim, so he can act with impunity. Speaking after a briefing in Kyiv with visiting European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, Mr. Zelensky said it's clear that the war in the Middle East is taking away the focus from Ukraine. He added that Russia wanted this focus to be weakened, but stressed that everything is in our power. And he's also appealing to the US for more weapons, and the US are busy, obviously, in supporting Israel and also arming Taiwan up to the teeth as well. So they must be producing an awful lot of weapons in the United States at the moment. OK, it's 9:15. It's the 9 till noon show. As I say, text WhatsApps 086 60 20 5000. That is the WhatsApp or text. If you want to send a voice message on that number, please feel free to do so as well. If that's your preferred means of communication, or give us a call on 07491 25000. And just a word to you, if you're listening on the podcast or you are listening overnight, a very good morning to you. Feel free to text in as well at that stage, and we can still carry the messages over to the next morning. So even if you're listening on delay, you can still be a part of the 9 till noon show. Rightio, time for a break. Our next guest, or our first guest, in fact, on the way very shortly.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the 2022 C-Store National Off-Licence of the Year.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Crisp mornings, crunchy leaves, cozy jumpers. Wintertime can be magical, but it's also the time of year when we're most at risk of catching the flu. At your local pharmacy, all children aged 2 to 12 years old and those aged 13 to 17 who were in an at-risk group can now get vaccinated for free with just a simple nasal spray. Don't let the flu stop you from enjoying your time together. Book your child's flu vaccine at your pharmacy today. Brought to you by the Irish Pharmacy Union.
The move to electric is on, with Kia powering ahead in electric vehicle technology. Take the stylish Kia Niro EV, the multi-award-winning EV6, or the all-new EV9 with space for up to 7 people. Order your 241 model now to avail of flexible finance options, a free home charger, and a €500 super value gift card. T's and C's apply.
Visit Heron Auto, Donegal Town for your 241 Kia.
Restex Beds and Furniture special offer for this month only. They're giving a free pack of hotel-grade pillows for every customer when you buy a bed or mattress. T's and C's apply while stocks last. Call into their showroom at Restex Beds, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Exploring your university choices? Come along to our ATU Donegal Open Day, Thursday, 9th of November from 9:30am till 2pm on our Letterkenny campus. With 10 department talks, guided campus tours and special guest speaker, the study coach, Dr. Sean Lally, joining us on the day. You can find out about all our programme offerings and see the amazing facilities ATU Donegal has to offer. Register today at atu.ie/Donegal Open Day.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at
18 minutes past 9. We awoke this morning to terrible news that 2 18-year-olds lost their lives in a single vehicle collision in North Inishowen. The crash happened near Glenealy shortly before midnight last night. A third person has been brought to hospital. The Glenealy to Coldaff Road is closed as Garda forensic teams prepare to carry out a full investigation and local diversions are in place. Councillor Martin McDermott is with us on the programme this morning. And Councillor McDermott, just shocking news, primarily for the families of those who have been killed and injured, but for the whole community. It's awful.
Yeah, good morning, Greg. Yeah, it's another sad morning here in Inishowen this morning, and particularly here in North Inishowen, with the news that two young people at 18 years of age, a fella and a girl, have been lost their lives last night. Devastating for the whole community, and particularly for the community in Glenealy. Very close-knit community out there, and people work together in a very tight-knit community, and they're devastated this morning, but most of all for the two families. And I want to give my condolences to both families, and I'm sure on behalf of everyone, our condolences to both families. It's a devastating news this morning to wake up to.
Any parent, or I mean, you don't have to be a parent, but I think particularly as a parent, and especially when they're driving or more mobile when they are young, it's just the worst nightmare. Just to imagine what those families are going through at the moment, and when they got that news, it's just absolutely devastating, isn't it? Yeah,
it's your worst nightmare to have to get someone to knock on your door and tell you that something has happened. And have girls around the same age myself, and you could not imagine that happening and someone coming to give you that news. But sadly, that's what has happened. And I think it's important now that the community, and I know the community in Glenealy, will rally around both families and do everything they can, and all the community here in North Inishowen will do everything they can over the next days, weeks and months ahead for both families, because it's going to be a very tough time for them particularly. But as I say, we will, and the people will do everything they can for them over the next period of time. Yeah, and the young people's friends circle as well. Do you know what I mean? It's just so much devastation wreaked this morning. Yeah, there's a big friend circle there with work and with school and with college and with everything else, and as I say, it's devastating, and it'll affect a lot of the children, a lot of the people in that area, and it'll affect school children and people out and about, and it's just, you can't put into words, Greg, the feeling, the numbness that is felt in the community this morning, and we just are heartfelt to those poor families that have to deal with us today. Yeah, and it's been felt right across the Northwest. Councillor Martin McDermott, thanks for joining us this morning. We do appreciate it. Unfortunate circumstances to be speaking under, though. But just the Gardaí, of course, are appealing to anyone who may have witnessed this collision to contact them. Any road users who were travelling on the R238 in the early hours of this morning between midnight and 1 a.m, so it's the timeline's been updated somewhat till after midnight, especially if you've got camera footage. And it's not just of the incident itself, it's just anything from that road at that time. You're asked to make it available to Gardaí, and it's very simple. You don't have to download it or edit it or anything like that there. If you do happen to have dash cam footage, local Garda station, and they will do all of that for you. Anyone with any information is asked to contact Buncrana Garda Station on 074 932 0540. You can also contact the Garda confidential line on 1800 666 111, or any Garda station for that matter, and any information would be very important. That single vehicle collision officially now updated. Sorry, I read an older script. It was involving one vehicle, and it occurred at around 12:30 a.m. in the early hours of this morning. And as I say, our deepest condolences to everyone affected by that awful tragedy. Right, okay. Michael joins us on the programme now. Michael, good morning to you. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Good morning, Craig.
You served with the UN in Lebanon, in the Middle East. I did, yes. And you think we can put what's happening into Gaza into a bit of perspective?
Yes, we certainly can. The time that I was there, I have experienced, the Arabs, and I've experienced the Israelis, and I've experienced the Arab Christians, and I've experienced the PLO. And their attitude towards different factions and different peoples. And I firmly believe, even then, going back 40 years ago, that the radical Muslims wanted Israel just eradicated off the face of the earth. and I believe that's the way it is today. That Hamas do not want any Jews living in Israel at all. They just want them gone. I'm not sure. I don't think so. That in Israel itself now at the minute there's 1.5 million Arab Jews living in Israel who settled in Israel. But Hamas, as far as I'm concerned, they're a terrorist organisation. They're a genocide organisation, and they just want to eradicate the Jews. They're not going to settle for a two-state solution. They just want them gone.
Israel, obviously, because we can see with their actions and the indiscriminate nature of their bombing, they clearly want to eradicate Palestine as well. 4,000 children have lost their lives, a further 6,000 innocents killed.
Greg, this is the narrative that's been pushed by the media, and it's the narrative that's been pushed all around the world, except for some people, right-thinking people, that can see through that narrative.
So you're saying
Israel
it's not happening, Michael?
Oh, it's happening, all right, but it's in retaliation to Hamas going in to Israel, raping, burning, beheading children, 1,600. That's a retaliation to that. The Hamas are holding their own people as human shields and in bondage, and they have been holding them in bondage for the last 10 to 15 years since they got rid of the Palestine Liberation Organization. They've been at this for a long time, and they do not want peace.
Do you think then? So, do you think the Israeli response has been proportionate?
Well, how do you gauge proportion in a war?
I'm asking. Well, yes, but there are rules to war, as you would know.
Well, if the rules to war, right? When the Germans, we'll give an example if you want examples. I'll give you an example. When the Germans and the Nazis bombed Britain during the war, there was 150,000 English people lost their lives in the Blitz. When Britain bombed Germany, there was over 2 million innocent people. That's what war's about. Yeah, and I think they've been very. Israel have been.
But Michael, do you not think when we when we bring it down to this level of conversation, and when we sort of try and put it into some sort of a historical context, which you have, that doesn't take away from the fact that 4,000 children have been blown to bits. They're incapable of supporting Hamas. They're incapable of being responsible in any way, shape or form. What the Germans did, what the British did almost 100 years ago, that is almost us avoiding the actual reality that 4,000 children have died in the last month. I mean, what do you say about that? Because that's what's not being talked about in the media.
Yeah. Well, it has been talked about in the media because it's there all the time, so we're aware of it, and nobody wants to see anybody dying in war.
RTE have a reporter in Israel interviewing people rollerblading around the city. Do you know what I mean? That's the coverage that we're getting here. If you want to sort of see,
would you really believe anything that comes from RTE?
No, I'm not criticising RTE, but I mean, like, there are other news outlets. Al Jazeera, for an example, they have reporters inside Gaza where you get more of a sense of what's actually happening. But regardless, surely, Michael, what we need to be talking about is a cessation to this. Because at the moment, Israel is effectively driving the entire population of Palestine to the south, and they probably would love them out of that area altogether. We had the awful events of October 7th, but rather than sort of justifying it or saying it's proportionate or disproportionate, would you not like to see the world leaders actually go in and say, right, enough is enough. We can't, at this point, continue to blow innocent people to bits?
Israel was not the aggressor here. Let's get that point across. Israel was not the aggressor here, and Israel hasn't been the aggressor. Anytime there's been a conflict in the Middle East, it's been the Arab states and the Arabs and the Arab Palestinians that have attacked Israel. All of the wars, right through, from 1948, 1967, 1973. It's the major wars, and there've been skirmishes, in between. Hamas and the PLO and different organisations have attacked Israel. Israel has not attacked another country once. Not once.
But so say, for instance, you talked about the historical context. Like, when do you start history? What about the formation of Israel? What about since then? What about, like, the Hamas? As far as I'm aware, don't have a massive presence in the West Bank, yet there are many people that have died at the hands of the Israelis there. You know what I mean? It's not just this didn't start on October 7th.
It didn't start on October 7th at all. It started probably in 1880 or 1885 or 1890. It started way back then, you know. And it was the UN. It was the UN. And before that, it was the League of Nations decided that Israel should have a homeland when the Jews were being exterminated in Europe and in Germany. Like, what do you want the Jews to do? What do you really? What does people want the Jewish nation to do? Walk away from Israel? Is that what they want them to do? Or do you want them to sit in Israel and let Arab countries bomb them day in and day out and do nothing? What does the people want them to do?
So you actually see almost exclusively here the Israelis as the victims.
I'm not saying there's victims. There's all victims in conflict. We've heard that numerous times in Ireland. There's always innocent victims in conflict. Nobody wants to see conflict. Nobody wants to see wars. I don't want to see any wars. You know, and if people have experienced people dying in wars or people dying through, you know, military conflict, you don't want to see that happening. You don't want to see children dying. You don't want to see elderly people. You don't want to see anybody dying. But what I'm saying is there have to be a balance here. You know,
but do you not think in the media coverage, Michael, I'm not sure which media you consume, do you not find that the media coverage is really quite pro-Israel? Because that's the impression I get. Now, I'm not saying it should be anti-Israel, but I don't see. For example, they just announced a certain amount of people that have been killed in overnight bombing. There's no differentiating them between innocent civilians and members of Hamas. You know, it's just a figure that's thrown out, and it's the IDF and all of their information that's provided to the media that is printed or reported pretty much unchallenged. So I would argue, Michael, or not argue, but debate, you know what I mean, that the coverage that we are getting is actually really quite pro-Israel rather than balanced. So where am I wrong?
No, I think you're wrong. And I think you're wrong in the sense that whenever they were covering, you know, the initial October the 7th attack on Israel, the genocide on Israel, it's a genocide what they done. You know, what Hamas done, they went in and they mutilated people in Israel, and that's exactly what they done. And we had people in Donegal out celebrating that, waving Palestinian flags and Hamas flags. That's crazy.
1 second. Did you? So you're telling me now, hand on heart, you saw people waving Hamas flags in Donegal? Hamas flags.
Of course. I'll tell you what. All you had to do was go to the meetings or the marches that was in Letterkenny, the marches that were all around.
Palestinian flags, to be honest with you. I didn't see any Hamas flags, but if you say you saw them.
Well, they're under the gaze of Palestinian flags.
Yes, it was
but
Palestinian. It wasn't Hamas
flags.
Yeah, but it wasn't Hamas flags you saw. It was Palestinian flags. So, I mean, we're talking about the media here. We have to get things right and accurate. But you speak so passionately, Michael, and I understand it, and I'm not calling you out, and you speak so passionately about the atrocity, the awful, awful events of October 7th. But when I mention what's happened subsequently, you know what I mean? You don't seem as emotionally invested in 10,000 innocents being carpet bombed in Gaza. Is that not part of the problem, that people are taking sides in something where we should all take a stand back and say it's all horrendous and it all needs to stop, and there has to be a solution to this? Because, to be honest with you, we could argue that either side wants to wipe the other side out, and that Israel would love its country to border the sea on its. You know what I mean? It's not. Maybe
I understand that. Yeah. And I'll tell you what. You said that I wouldn't be passionate about the 10,000 people. I would be every bit as passionate about 10,000. Palestinians dying as 10,000 Israelis. Conflict's an awful thing.
It is.
You know what I mean? And I don't think you should level that at me.
No, well, I wouldn't do it unless...
I'm trying to be balanced.
Of course, Michael, and I wouldn't do it unless you were here and had the opportunity.
I'll beg a question here now to you, Craig, right? If the Israelis left their arms down tomorrow, what would happen?
Yeah, there probably would be further attacks like which we saw on October 7th.
Yes. If the Palestinian people lay their arms down, would the same happen?
Well, Michael, you would know that there are people...
No, I've asked you a question. What do you think, Craig?
Well, I don't feel I'm qualified to speak on it, to be honest, but I do know that up until now, up until the events of October 7th, which could never be justified, that the Palestinians would say that they were being killed left and right and centre by the Israelis. It just wasn't being reported.
The Israelis have never said that they want to eradicate the Muslim people or the Arab people. They've never, ever said that.
Neither have...
But Hamas has.
Hamas has, yes,
yes,
of
they
course.
have.
But, they don't necessarily speak for the Palestinian people en bloc.
That's exactly, we understand that, because they're holding the Palestinian people in bondage. And the sooner the people realise that and waking up to that the Palestinian people in Gaza and in the are being held in bondage.
In terms of being held in bondage, and again, I'd be hesitant to talk about things I don't have experience of or understand, but has the people of Palestine not effectively been, and it's been generally accepted to be, bonded by Israel in an open-air prison, effectively, where their water is regulated, their fuel is regulated, their imports are regulated, their ability to produce or export is regulated? So have the Palestinians not been living in that enclave effectively in bondage at the hands of Israel and the West for many, many generations?
If you go back to the start of the conflict, when you have to go back, then everybody goes back and back and back and back. The Palestinians that are living now in Gaza are there because of the previous conflicts. When a two-state solution was offered to the Palestinian people, they didn't want it. They do not want a two-state solution. And that's the bottom line in it. They do not want a two-state solution.
Mm-hmm.
Israel has offered that on numerous occasions, a two-state solution, and they don't want it. And this is where the problem lies. They do not want a two-state solution. They want Israel out of Israel. They want the Israeli people gone. And this is where the problem lies.
So,
and it's not all the Palestinian people or all the Arab nations around them, because there's a lot of Arab nations around and support Israel and wanted a two-state solution. But Iran doesn't want it. Probably Syria doesn't want it. And, there's a few other radical...
What do you see as the solution, Michael?
There's only one way it can be, is a two-state solution. There's no other solution, and that's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
There is no other solution, and there can't be any other solution other than a two-state solution. Historically, you can say Israel belongs to the Jews, and you can say that historically, the land that they call Palestine now, or some people call Palestine, but it's Israel, belongs to the Arabs, which it was Arabs.
You had seen historically how Israel has been encroaching in that territory over the last number of decades.
Well, they've had to encroach into it because they were getting bombed from the West Bank. They were getting bombed from the Golan Heights. They're now getting bombed from South Lebanon.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 67 war, they were encroached by Egypt, Jordan, Syria. And, that was a 7-day war. They had to defend themselves. What did you want? What does people want them to do? Just sit back and let all these Arab nations come in and wipe them out? They have to defend themselves. And, they have a right to be there as well, as the same right as the Palestinians have to be there.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they can't live in peace because it's Islamic jihad is taking place out there.
All right, Michael, thanks for your time this morning. I appreciate it. That's Michael and his views there. Congratulations to that caller, Michael, who's standing up for Israel and telling the truth about what's going on. I'm shocked that the biased Highland Radio let him on air. All right, we hear all views on this programme, but anyway, that's your view, and I've read it out. Who was on the land before Israel set up, says a caller. Palestine was the biggest country in the Middle East during World War II. Israel is pushing the people of Palestine out of their native country in the West Bank and make Israel just a Jewish country. Greg, you are calling for Israel to declare a ceasefire, yet Hamas does not want a ceasefire. Well, it depends on what reports you hear in relation to that, but I don't, again, know enough to get into that, but I have heard reports that Hamas wants a ceasefire, but either side, listen, Israel wants Hamas gone at this point. That's what they're stating. Tell Michael this is not a war, it's the slaughter of the innocent children. Another, can you please ask the current caller to open a history book? Absolutely appalling listening to that opinion when a dog on the street can see what is happening there. Michael does not know his history. Another, Israel was the aggressor when they stole Palestine land and houses. Israel is bombing Jordan and Syria every day, says another. What does Michael want the Palestinians to do? Stay in concentration camps? Many of these points are put to Michael as well, who's of a view that some people would agree with. Ask that man how Israel was set up. Another, get that man off the air who is holding the Palestinian people without food, water, etc. How can he condone children being killed? He may be a soldier, but that does not give him any credit. Another, the two-state solution was offered. It was never offered, sorry. Israel was founded on Palestinian land. They threw Palestinians out of their homes and moved in. Hi, Greg. Oh, sorry, that's a separate one on a separate issue. All right, listen, thanks very much for all your comments.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Looks like we're in for a cold spell.
Perfect weather to chill out in a steaming seaweed bath on Sligo's shores.
Talk of scattered showers too.
Perfect weather for sea swimming off the coast of Waterford. Sure, you're already wet.
It's fierce windy out there.
Perfect weather to be swept off your feet on a romantic weekend in Cork City. Whatever the weather, it's always perfect weather to keep discovering. With great short breaks forecast right across Ireland, plan your next one now at discoverireland.ie.
St Columba's College Stranorlar. Open evening for 6th class primary students, their parents or guardians will take place on Thursday the 9th of November at 7 p.m. in the school hall. A copy of the student's birth cert and PPSN are required to complete the application form.
At Connect Hearing, our audiologist is available Monday to Friday for hearing tests and wax removal services at our Letterkenny Clinic in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. From now until the end of November, we are offering a free wax removal service for all those over 60 years of age. Our hearing is our social sense. Are you finding hearing more of a challenge? Call Ursula today on 07491 13296 to make an appointment. Good hearing helps us to connect to our family, friends and loved ones. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
Foy & Company's Black Friday sale is running for the entire month of November. The one-off sale you don't want to miss. All this week there's up to 50% off selected Scatterbox cushions, plus lots more discounts including 20% off Dulux Motor Paint and 50% off Rivoli dining sets. There's also great discounts off Italian leather sofas, Irish-made mattresses and so much more. A month of Black Friday sales not to be missed at Foy & Company in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet.
It's important to you to know where your food comes from. Isn't it just as important to know where your information comes from? It's not always easy to verify what you see, read, or hear. But now there's help. Visit www.bemediasmart.ie. Stop, think, check. Be Media Smart. Brought to you by Media Literacy Ireland, supported by your local radio station.
Okay, you're welcome back to the programme. So we put an inquiry in with the HSE that reads as follows. I'm wondering if you have any additional information on the fact that the Letterkenny Hospital crisis is now impacting elderly patients waiting to go into respite at St Joseph's Community Hospital in Stranorlar. These elderly people who are used to St Joseph's now are being sent to private nursing homes when it is their week for respite. This is ridiculous and unfair. Just because the management at Letterkenny Hospital cannot get their act together does not mean that poor elderly people should be farmed out to places that they are not used to going. Now, this is the the views of a listener that we sent to the HSE. Many of them have built relationships with the staff at St Joseph's and know what to expect. Consistency is important for most of them. St Joseph's is now accepting over 65-year-olds from the overflow at Letterkenny Hospital. This is not even safe for the current residents of St Joseph's Hospital. This is exactly what happened in New York during COVID when ill patients were brought into nursing homes. So many died because of it. There are other contagious illnesses apart from COVID. The HSE in response, all efforts are being made by the Older Persons Service to support older people availing of respite in Donegal. At the same time, the service must also offer post-acute hospital care to those older people who need a continued level of support. In order to facilitate the demand for both respite and post-acute care, some respite services are now provided in private nursing homes within the area, all of which are registered facilities with HICWA and have the ability to provide the required care level. This will be kept under review on an ongoing basis. Irene Byrne joins us now. Irene, I mean, we've outlined the scenario and we've outlined the HSE's response.
Yeah, I mean, our main concern as a family is why are they disrupting a system that is effective and in place at St Joseph's to make way for patients to come in from the overflow at Letterkenny when those patients can go directly to the spots that are available in the other private nursing homes. So, for example, my dad, instead of going back into St Joseph's in a couple of weeks, has been given, and it's only 10 minutes up the road, has been given an assignment at a private nursing home up above the hospital in Letterkenny. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand why it is that they have to disrupt something that works well at St Joseph's and is a good system, and there are so many people that come in for their cycle of care. They know the staff know them, they know the system, and now they're being turned away from St Joseph's, sent somewhere they've never been before, and the patients from St Joseph's are from Letterkenny Hospital are going into St Joseph's.
Has it been explained to you as to why?
Correctly?
Yeah, has it been explained to you why people aren't moved from Letterkenny University Hospital to the closer Larissa Lodge and allow the regular respite at St Joseph's to continue? Because obviously Larissa Lodge is closer to LUH than St Joseph's is.
Absolutely, and that's our question. And we don't know who made that decision and why the decision was made.
Mm-hmm. So to help us understand more, can you tell us what your dad's situation is and how the respite care works, if that's okay, Irene?
Yeah, so absolutely. My dad is a lovely, wonderful 91-year-old man, and he's lived a great life. Mm-hmm. And just over the past few years, he's needed additional help with mobility and getting around. And so we do qualify for the Fair Deal scheme, and we went through all of that paperwork. We have HSE support, minimal support in the morning, a little bit of lunch and again at the end of the day.
And this is at home, is it? Yes.
And this is at home, absolutely. And then we have additional support that we put in place as a family, for him. So that week of respite is really an opportunity for my mother, who is 87 and is a darling and is his main caregiver. It's a little week for her to have a little bit of a break.
To charge her batteries up, Irene.
Exactly. And we as a family, I live in the States, my sister lives in the States, my brother lives in London. Mm-hmm. We rotate through about every 8 or 9 weeks. One of us is always there as support. Mm-hmm. And I wish we could do it more. Mm-hmm. But it's just the fact that we had this week set up, and when I called St. Joseph's, they said, oh no, all respite is cancelled because of the crisis in Letterkenny. Why are we allowing the crisis in Letterkenny to impact St. Joseph's? Mm-hmm. That should not be happening. They're separate places. They should keep the well-established program working and let Letterkenny Hospital do what they need to do with those, fit to be discharged patients that need to go to a skilled nursing facility.
I know it might seem obvious, Irene, but if your father gets, and he'll get very good care in Larissa Lodge, I think we can both agree on that. Mm-hmm. Why?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, of course. But why is that not a preferred option for you? Like, what impact might it have? Is it in terms of visiting him? Is it in terms of familiar surroundings? Why is that option?
I mean, because it's a new place yet again for someone to have to get used to. When you've gone in somewhere and you get to know the staff and they get to know you and you know the routine, it's very comforting. Mm-hmm. I mean, no one probably really wants to be in respite. Some do, but most don't.
Yes.
And just to be able to go into a comfortable place where you're well taken care of. And I know that Larissa Lodge has a very good reputation. Yes. It's not about that. It's just why put somebody in sort of farm people out to an unfamiliar place when you can keep the system that's working.
Farming people, it's a bit unfortunate too, because those are other people's, that's an unfortunate phrase, those are other people's families as well, do you know what I mean? And hopefully that's their pathway to getting home. They're not animals, do you know what I mean?
Yes, no, absolutely. And I think that better care should be taken of every single elderly person in Donegal, in fact around the entire country. But just sort of arbitrarily deciding that we're going to stop this respite and we're going to take these people and put them in there, it just doesn't make any sense.
All right,
another listener. One system.
Yeah, another listener says, my dad lives in Lifford and goes to St. Joseph's in Stranola for respite. We recently got letters to say his respite is in Letterkenny. We have no car. If he needs anything, we'll have to pay a taxi, and it's just not possible for us. Even Convoy would have been closer to us. Not everything is centred around Letterkenny. No thought has been given to families who have to travel. Even we get a bus, we would still need a return taxi to and from the mountaintop. It's so unfair. Why are families being punished like this? Another, my mum goes to St. Joseph's for respite once every 8 weeks. This week we got notified that she'll now have to go to Letterkenny. There was a ward in St. Joseph's fully refurbished, and now it's become a changing room. It's ridiculous. Why this room can't be used for respite is beyond me. There is plenty of room and staff, so what is the excuse? There are loads of families in this situation who took a lot of time to get our mum settled into St. Joseph's. Now we have to do it all over again in another strange place. Change is not easy for some elderly people, especially older people with dementia. I've spoken to other family members in the same boat who have no form of transport to get to Letterkenny. Another, why can these patients in Letterkenny who need a long-term bed not be sent to the nursing home in Letterkenny instead of forcing us in the Lifford area to travel to Letterkenny? So, that's 4 or 5 families there in the same situation, Irene, as your family. And I suppose too, there can be some contentment, I suppose, there has to be during respite, because, everyone has to look after themselves and get their batteries charged as best as possible. But when it's in a new place and there's other anxieties thrown in, maybe to some extent the whole purpose of the respite is lost, because someone spends that week feeling anxious and, I don't know, guilty or whatever emotions people might have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's just so unfair. And, I've been in St. Joseph's and I've seen this, you sort of have a little cohort of people that come in at the same time. And it's so nice because everybody knows them and everyone knows to make them a cup of tea and they know everybody. And there's just the familiarity and knowing the routine and where you're going to be next and what you're doing. I mean, that's a big part of it. It's really hard to go somewhere that you're not used to. And it's so unfair. It's just so unfair and unnecessary.
Yeah, I suppose, though, have they set St. Joseph's up, though, as a place now specifically for, post-hospital care that maybe can't be provided in a number of different premises? Do you know what I mean? If we are going to try and address this crisis and get people out of hospital, there does have to be a, almost like a centre of excellence. And that's not speaking down any other nursing home. I'm just trying to think of the logic here, Irene.
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely what the HSE said last week, and what they said was that everyone that has been sent to these nursing homes is a fit-to-be-discharged patient who no longer needs care at Letterkenny Hospital.
They need support, yeah.
So I think that, and all of somewhere like Larissa Lodge is a skilled nursing facility as well. So, again, just don't disrupt one thing.
The complication is though, Irene, St. Joseph's can't take everyone. So let's say, hypothetically, God forbid, your father needed hospital treatment and needed to be discharged to a community hospital. Would you be on saying, well, why is he not being discharged to St. Joseph's? Why is he being discharged from hospital to Larissa Lodge? Do you know what I mean? Is there not there comes a point where there's just not enough capacity to do everything to suit everybody? And I mean that with no badness in my heart, Irene. I hope you understand. It's just to tease the convo out.
That it is, to be quite honest, is that they don't need to disrupt one system just because the system at Letterkenny Hospital doesn't work. And that's basically what they're doing.
Okay.
And my fear is that there are so many families that will not be able to get to where the new place that they're assigned, and they won't get their week. And that's awful. And, one of the things that I noticed at St. Joseph's as well was that there are a couple of people that come in, and they come in and, they might be elderly people living at home. I don't know their story.
Yes.
But they come in and they're taken care of for a week, and they get their meals and they get their cup of tea and they get someone to talk to. And, talk about respite, I mean, that's a whole new breath of life for them, and some of them may not be able to get anywhere else.
Yes. Okay.
So we've totally disrupted that system, and I just think that needs to be looked at.
Okay.
Why do we have to let Letterkenny Hospital impact St. Joseph's? We shouldn't allow it.
Understood, Irene, and I hope you've been heard. I appreciate your time, and best wishes to your dad and the rest of the family, okay?
Thank you very much, Greg. I do appreciate it.
Okay, Irene.
Bye-bye.
Take care. All right, quick break. Back with the weather.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
At Screwfix, you can click and collect over 10,000 trade products in as little as 1 minute. So whether it's a power drill in Portlaoise or guttering in Galway, when you need it yesterday, just click at screwfix.ie and collect at your local store 7 days a week. T's and C's apply. Visit screwfix.ie for full details.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonaher Road, Donegal Town.
Tinny's Toys, Ireland's largest farm toy superstore, isn't just about farm toys. We've loads of fun outdoor toys for kids, such as electric scooters, crazy carts, electric quads, jeeps, tractors, and so much more. Hassle-free parking at the door with no traffic jams. Our Christmas club is now open too, and a wee deposit secures your item. Tinny's Toys, Leck Road, Letterkenny, or online at tinnystoys.com. Lay down.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council and the Donegal Road Safety Working Group. With reduced daylight hours, the harder it is to be seen on our roads. Whether you're cycling, running or walking, be safe and be seen. As a pedestrian, it's your responsibility to ensure you are fully visible to motorists. Be well lit up and wear appropriate high-vis clothing. Motorists must accept their responsibility and always be aware of vulnerable road users. Donegal County Council, making our roads safer for everyone.
Hi, Kate Appleby here. Just wanted to let you all know my exciting new autumn shoe collection is available nationwide in all good shoe stores. kateappleby.com. Hope you enjoy my shoes.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. From condensing oil and HVO biofuel boilers to heat pumps and underfloor heating, you can trust Grant to heat your home. Visit grant.ie.
Okay, so let's have a look at that weather forecast for today, and I can tell you that there'll be scattered showers and occasional sunshine. Some of the showers will be heavy and may cause spot flooding. Cool though, with highest temperatures of 9 to 11 degrees in a moderate, fresh westerly winds. That's the weather for today. Hi Greg, do any of your listeners think that Fianna Fáil inviting the Israeli ambassador while her government is murdering thousands of civilians, men, women and children, was a complete lack of moral judgment, especially now that a member of the suggested the use of nuclear option. Okay, a member of the government suggested the nuclear option, and an ex-colleague called the Palestinians inhuman animals. Right, I say it was an atomic bomb, I think, rather than a nuclear one. Are they the same? I'm not sure. That man earlier on, Michael, was talking rubbish. Israel has been treating the Palestinian people badly for decades. They are trying to take over the whole area. They're arresting small children all the time. As for the beheading children, they don't exist. October the 7th was an inside job. Well, I wouldn't agree with that either. I do understand that some of the reporting of what happened on October 7th, it was absolutely horrific, but not all the reporting was accurate, which doesn't in any way take away from that awful situation. Right, okay, we are an hour in. Thank you so much, by the way, for all the welcome backs and all the messages and for all the interactions. We're going to be back with more on the 9 till noon show after the news at 10.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Give yourself the gift of a pre-ordered Christmas shop from Dunnes Stores this year. Ham and turkey can be pre-ordered as early as November 15th and collected between the 20th and 23rd of December, letting you skip the queue and skip the worrying about getting everything you need for the perfect Christmas. Now available nationwide. Visit dunstoresgrocery.com to find your nearest store.
Make Christmas for everyone at Dunnes Stores. Subject to availability. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you ready for Deal a Day November? Irwin Expert Electrical are bringing you mega savings this November on your favourite brands like LG, Samsung, Dyson and Fitbit. Shop smart, save big and stay tuned to Irwin Expert Electrical on social media for the exciting daily deals. All eligible for the Christmas layaway service.
Make your next menswear choice at Watson Menswear Letterkenny. From suits to casual wear, there's big names to choose from like Andre, Tom Penn, Rimazumo, Superdry, Penguin and Tommy Bow. If you're going to a special occasion or big event, get fitted in style at Watson Menswear, open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny, online at watsonmenswear.com or follow on social media for details of offers and new arrivals. The Christmas Club is also now open and a small deposit will secure any item.
All you need to make your house a home at Patterson's The Hall Ifford. Christmas Layaway Club now open with lots of Christmas gift ideas in store, like Hollywood mirrors, dressing tables, beanbags and much more. Need a new mattress? Visit our sleep centre on the first floor with quality beds and mattresses at discount prices. In stock and ready for immediate collection or delivery. Open Monday to Saturday 9am till 5:30pm with hot lunches served daily in our coffee shop. Patterson's Kitchens and Interiors. The Hall Ifford.
Go the extra mile with Volvo Electric. Visit McGinley Motors for Volvo Open Week, November 13th to 18th, and get the full experience of the Volvo XC40 and C40 Recharge, each with an extended electric range of up to 570 kilometers. If you order one of these models during Volvo Open Week, you'll receive a complimentary metallic paint upgrade. Find out more about our exclusive offers at volvocast.ie. Terms and conditions apply.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. 2 teenagers have been killed in a road crash in North Inishowen. A third person has been injured in the collision, which happened overnight. With more, here's Aoife Kearns.
Emergency services were called to the scene at 12:45 this morning. The single vehicle crash happened on the R238 at Terrawee in Glenealy. An 18-year-old man and an 18-year-old woman were pronounced dead at the scene. A third person in the car at the time has been taken to hospital with injuries which aren't thought to be life-threatening. The Glenealy to Culdaff Road is closed as Garda forensic teams prepare to carry out a full investigation. Local diversions are in place.
Gardaí in Buncrana are appealing to anyone who witnessed the collision or may have been travelling on the R238 in the early hours of the morning between midnight and 1am to make contact with them at Buncrana Garda Station, the Garda Confidential line or any Garda station. They're particularly anxious to see any dashcam footage that people may have. Councillor Terry Crossan is the Cathaoirleach of the Inishowen Municipal District. He says what's happened is heartbreaking.
I was absolutely saddened to wake up to this horrendous news of yet another overnight tragedy in North Inishowen. It's something that we've had too much of over the years, and it's absolutely horrendous, and it must be horrendous for both the bereaved families, and I would like to offer them my most sincere condolences at this very tragic time.
More than 4 in 10 people want a home care scheme paid for by the person receiving the care and the state. That's according to a new poll by Sage Advocacy as the Commission on Care begins a review of services here. There are plans to introduce a statutory home care scheme that could involve a payment. Mark Mellis is chair of Sage Advocacy. He says more than 8 in 10 of those surveyed believe home care is overly concentrated on private providers.
There's a surprising number who actually believe that too much of the current care provision is provided by the private sector, with very little, less than 20% provided by state. There's a huge support for the idea of a kind of a GAA for care, whereby the institutions, civil society at community level should be more involved and more enabled to provide care. So you have that balance between government, between the market and also between civil society.
There are fresh calls for a living wage to help combat poverty. Social Justice Ireland says higher welfare rates and affordable state housing will help to eradicate childhood poverty. Spokesperson Suzanne Rogers says we're building up problems for the future. by not addressing poverty issues now.
Cheap, affordable, sustainable, social or public housing. That's so necessary, I think, if we're going to put a dent in any sort of child poverty figures. There's been research done about children living in homeless accommodation who miss their milestones. These things are impossible to do when you're in a small hotel room. We are building up trouble for the future because we're not looking after these children really as well as we should do.
An age limit is set to be imposed on the use of e-scooters. Transport Minister Eamon Ryan had ruled it out, saying without a mandatory age card system, any law would be unenforceable. However, the Irish Examiner reports this morning the Road Safety Authority, Gardaí and the Justice Minister have now intervened, and e-scooters will be limited for over 16s only when new laws are enacted. And 2 men have been charged in connection with a multi-million-euro drugs haul. Cocaine worth over €2 million was seized along with cannabis and a number of firearms as part of Operation Tara last Friday. With more detail, here's Tara Duggan.
The discovery was made when 2 vehicles were intercepted by the Garda National Drugs and Organised Crime Bureau in Finglas in North Dublin on Friday. Planned searches were then carried out at addresses in Kilkenny, Waterford, Talla and Ashburn. In total, cocaine worth €2 million was found, along with cannabis worth €20,000, 3 Glock handguns and a replica handgun, €18,000 in cash and drugs paraphernalia. One man in his 20s was brought before a special court sitting on Saturday evening. A second man aged in his 50s is due before the courts today. 2 other men in their 20s and 30s who were arrested as part of the investigation have now been released without charge, and files are being prepared for the DPP.
Weather forecast: scattered showers and occasional sunshine today. Some of the showers heavy with a chance of some spot flooding. Cool this afternoon. Top temperatures 9 to 11 degrees Celsius in a moderate to fresh westerly wind. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with headlines again at 11 o'clock. Don't forget you can keep up to date on the day's news on our website, Highland Radio News. But for now, from the news team, have a very good morning. The obituary notices for this Monday morning, the 6th of November. The death has occurred of Annie Boyle, Dr. McCloskey Crescent, Glenties, formerly of Coolvoy, Duherry. Reposing at Shevlin's funeral home, Sandfield Ardra, tomorrow evening from 5 o'clock, with removal at 6:30 to St Connell's Church, Glenties, for 7 o'clock to repose overnight. Funeral Mass on Wednesday morning at 11, with burial afterwards in Fintown Cemetery. The death has occurred of Kieran Gilchrist, Hawthorne Heights, Letterkenny. Reposing at Eternal Light Chapel of Rest, Mountain Top, Letterkenny, from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock this evening, and from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. House private, please, on tomorrow, Tuesday. Private cremation on Wednesday in Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan. No flowers, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Donegal Search and Rescue, care of Pascal Blake, Funeral Director. The death has occurred of Sean O'Hay, 11, Tara Court, Letterkenny. Removal to his late residence to repose from 2 o'clock to 9 o'clock today, with Rosary at 8:15. Removal from there tomorrow morning to the Church of the Irish Martyrs for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, which can be viewed live on the parish YouTube channel. That'll be followed by burial in Cornwall Cemetery. Family time, please, before the funeral tomorrow. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if desired, to the Donegal Hospice, care of Pascal Blake, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Thomas Tom Hamilton. Funeral leaving his late home in Maymore, St Johnson this afternoon at 1:30, followed by a service of thanksgiving for his life in St Johnson Presbyterian Church at 2 o'clock. Burial afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. Family flowers only by request. The death has taken place of Anne Lynch, Belahan, Greencastle. Funeral Mass this morning at 11 in St Mary's Church, Ballybrack, followed by interment in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Irish Heart Foundation, care of any family member. The death has occurred of Eamon McDevitt, Doon Glebe, New Mills, Letterkenny. Removal from there this morning going to St Columba's Church, Glenswilly, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, followed by interment in Temple Douglas Cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family flowers only, please, with donations in lieu to the Good and New Cancer Bus charity, care of any family member or Charlie McClafferty, Funeral Director. The death has occurred of Christopher McGee, 106, Ardmaccool, Stranorlar. Remains reposing at his late residence. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in the Church of Mary Immaculate, Stranorlar. Interment afterwards in Drumbo Cemetery. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish webcam. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. And the death has occurred of John Bonner, Sesha O'Neill, Ballabafay. Funeral from his late residence this morning at 11 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Sesha O'Neill at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in St Patrick's Churchyard, Crossroads, Killygordon. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish YouTube channel. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
It's important to take care of yourself when you're feeling unwell. And if you have symptoms of a virus, flu, or COVID-19, the best thing to do is to rest up and stay at home. Because you won't just be taking care of yourself, you'll be helping to protect other people too. People close to you, like family and friends, and people you've never even met who might be at higher risk than you. And don't forget to visit hse.ie for advice on getting better. From the HSE.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the second hour of the 9 till noon show. How are you all doing? I do hope you're very well indeed, and we do appreciate your listening to the programme today, and all of those of you who are watching as well. Great to have you on board. Okay, 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number, 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Right, some of your comments here. Greg, there was a minister in Israel over the weekend that said he wanted to wipe out the Palestinians, tell them to go to Ireland or the desert. Indeed, I heard that, and I thought it quite interesting that of all the European nations, Ireland was singled out in those comments. Another, Israel gave the Palestinian people the chance to leave, encouraging them, Hamas then to stay. Well, like, you have to imagine, we talk about difficulty in accessing hospitals, no bus services and all that type of stuff. You know, as well as many, many people who are in hospital that can't be moved. And if they happen to be moved, you don't know if the ambulance is going to be attacked. And if you had someone sick in a hospital, would you leave? Would you flee, or would you stay? There's still 400,000 people there. I don't think it's I don't think it's because they want to. I think it's because they feel they have to. The majority of people worldwide do not support Hamas. They are empathetic to innocent people being subjected to death and destruction by a superior military force. Maybe Michael should learn a bit more about the non-Israel settlers who have been killing Palestinians for decades and taking their lands by force. His knowledge on the history is mediocre. The land was called Canaan in biblical times. Is that man, if that man was on a United Nations peacekeeping force, then he doesn't sound very impartial. Poor Greg is getting tied in knots. No, I'm not getting tied in knots at all. I'm really reluctant to comment about something or that I am not fully aware of. And I think there's too much of that going on. We do see people in this country, they're assembling in a panel to discuss the intricacies of why this is happening and why that's happening. And you know, they've read those opinions elsewhere. So I'm not in knots, literally just trying to tease out the conversation, but not say anything that I don't genuinely have an understanding of. But I appreciate your comment. Greg, there are 2 or 3 sides to every conflict, and you, me, and most people here in Ireland, even our government, don't understand the situation in those countries. Look at how this is exactly what was happening right through the Old Testament. The actions are abominable, but there is a great lack of respect for life, unborn life here in our own country, and everyone just turns a blind eye. Don't say there's no correlation. There is just no Christianity. That man's making my blood boil. He's completely wrong. Israel is an apartheid state. Palestinians living in an open-air prison while the world looks on. Palestinian children were being murdered every day by Israeli soldiers, as well as many others. He's saying children being beheaded by Hamas, which I didn't hear because I would have corrected at that time. This has since been corrected as being total lies. He needs to get his facts right. Many prominent Jews are totally against the war. It is the Zionist Jews supported by America who want all Palestinians out of Gaza for good. It is part of the greater Gaza plan. Look it up. Excellent independent journalists like John Pilger and Jonathan Cook will enlighten him. And on it goes. Thank you. Keep them coming. I will take a break now, though, for the obituary notices, because I know many of you are waiting patiently for them.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday, the 6th of November. You're playing on the green sheet. The reference number is S1. It's game number 45. The numbers are 68, 71, 33, 35, 67, 38, 81, 4, 48, and finally 23. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Mary here from the cosmetic department at McGee's Pharmacy to let you know that Loncome have a great beauty gift available this week. Buy 2 Loncome products, one of them to be skincare, and you will get a free 8-piece gift containing the full-size Gality Comfort Cleanser, Rennershade Day and Eye Travel Size Creams, and more iconic Loncome products. This is available until Saturday the 11th of November or while stocks last. Some T's and C's apply. Remember, for any skincare advice, you can always talk to Gemma or myself here at McGee's Pharmacy on Main Street, Letterkenny.
Ho, 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 ho. Santa Claus speaking.
It's me, Santa, your trusty elf. I've got an urgent message from Cooney's Christmas shop.
Oh, my golly goodness. What's happening at Cooney's?
Well, Santa, they've gone all out this year. Their Christmas decor is bigger and better than ever.
Visit Cooney's Christmas shop, Letterkenny Retail Park, and feel the magic of Christmas. Santa approved.
The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Seasonal loans now available for Christmas. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
08660 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. We're joined on the programme now by Fianna Fáil Councillor Patrick McGowan. Good morning, Patrick. Thanks for taking the time out.
Morning, Greg.
Right,
Thanks, Greg.
okay. We've been talking, well, you've been discussing or making inquiries on the issue we were discussing a little bit later on. What have you learned or what have you found out?
Oh, well, it's just at the moment that there's an embargo on at the moment and to do with the FORSA dispute within civil servants within the HSE. So I'm finding it very, very difficult to get responses back. I've been sending out queries this last couple of weeks and getting very little back. But what I can say is I very much agree with that lady you had on earlier that I've been getting calls all the time, including even yesterday there from local families who avail of the respite and much needed the respite because sometimes there's families that have nobody at home. You know, there might only be 1 or 2 in a family and they're maybe working or they're away. So the respite are vital in them cases. And then again, there's very little home care packages available at the moment as well. So people are very, very much dependent here in this area on St Joseph's. And I have been hearing as well now that the St Joseph's has been used now as a step down from Letterkenny Hospital, and that one was right. They're moving people from the Letterkenny catchment area over to St Arthur for a step down, and then while there's people within the Fan Valley area, let's say, that need respite, they've been told then to go to nursing homes over in the Letterkenny area.
Do you have any sympathy? Do you have any sympathy for the HSE in trying to keep all of these balls in the air? That they need one dedicated.
Well, not really, and you know, I know it's not easy as there's lack of beds, but you know, apparently the beds are there. So what they're doing is the respite for people that don't need any more medical attention, they've been sent to St Joseph's, whereas the people that do get medical intervention and it gives it's not only gives the family time respite and that, but it also catches up on they do get medical attention as well. So, like, why send the people from St. Arlet to Letterkenny and then send step down the other way?
But you're asking the same question. You're asking the same questions that our listeners are asking. Do you have any answers?
No, I don't, because the problem is people have been commenting the last couple of weeks, but apparently the Force Union has decided to include counsellors within the embargo. They're not giving out information. Same as a few months ago was to do with the county councils. Now it's to the FD as well. So I've been trying to get through the various ministers' offices, which they always try to do to get back responses.
All right, Councillor, unfortunately that line has just gone for us, but we get your point. Jennifer, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
It's not just St. Joseph's Community Hospital, you're saying?
No, my father-in-law goes into Ramelton Community Hospital, and first of all, in September, we were told that there was no beds for him due to the extra influx coming from Letterkenny Hospital. And then October, we've been cancelled, our October respite. Wow. We sort of had to change it around a bit. Now, they did offer us again to go to a different respite location, but my father-in-law has dementia, and we said no way. It's either he lives with us or Ramelton's excellent, and he's used to going there. So he's not going anywhere. We're holding on until they come back to tell us basically that they were able to take him again.
Right. Have you been given any indication on the time frame for this service not to be available in Ramelton? Was the wording to suggest at this time or going forward, Jennifer?
No, just she said at this time. At this time, due to the lack of beds. So I said, well, sure, keep me updated now for going forward for November, December, if anything comes available. So that's how we left it.
But because of your father-in-law and what you know to be best for him, you have lost the respite effectively. I mean, it was offered in a different location, but you know that's not good for him.
It's not. No, we just wouldn't call us very protective, but just with his routine and what he knows and the people he knows, his friends are in Ramelton. He knows people know him in Ramelton. We wouldn't be comfortable sending him somewhere else. And plus, we weren't going to be in the country. We had a holiday planned. So there would have been nobody. We wouldn't have been there to visit him or to go in if anything had happened. They did take him in September because we were going away, but we've left it now. That will just wait for Ramelton again.
Wow, okay. All right. Listen, Jennifer, thanks for helping us to get an insight into it, and best wishes to your father-in-law and the whole family. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Great,
take care. Right, a lot of you have been commenting since we heard from Michael. The two-state solution was never offered by Israel, says one listener. And here's a voice note, someone commenting on what we heard from Michael there.
Your caller there that's online at the minute has absolutely no sense of what's going on. When the IRA were bombing Ireland, Northern Ireland and England, did the UK come in and demolish Belfast or Northern Ireland or the Republic of Ireland? No, they didn't.
All right, if you want to have your say via voice note, 08660 25,000. Greg, that man is the first time I've heard anyone publicly asking for people to see Hamas for what they are, i.e. they want to terminate the Jewish people. Yes, Israel are Goliath, of course, but Hamas have only one goal and will never accept a two-state solution, so therein lies the problem. Greg, get that man off the radio. If he served as a UN peacekeeper for the Irish Army, his pension should be stopped immediately. Good morning, Greg. That gentleman, Michael, clearly well-informed man. Every word is valid in what he says. Greg, sorry, but the discussion is clearly showcasing Michael's knowledge of what is the truth of this conflict going back many years. Again, another sets of opinion. Right, okay, thank you very much for all of that. As I say, on any issue at all, feel free to send in your voice notes. As you can hear, it's a good way of getting your views across. 08660 25,000. Right, okay, let me see. People who don't pay their TV licence have no case. It is the law, just like car tax. Oh, I have to renew my car tax. Thank you for that. It is the law, just like car tax and household charge. Citing perceived misappropriation of funds by RTE is not a defence. And if it is proved that you don't hold a current licence, a judge has no option but to convict. It's not worth all that hassle, and we do need a public service broadcaster, whatever its faults. If we didn't contribute to RTE, it would depend on commercial sponsorship. In such cases, we may not get independent, unbiased information. Remember, he who pays the piper calls the tune. And some people would say the government calls the tune because it pays the piper. But anyway, that's another situation. Right, okay. Kevin's with us now. Hiya, Kevin.
Morning, how's it going?
I'm all right. I'm okay. Right, we're highlighting the problem of litter, Kevin. What did you come across?
Well, at the weekend there we found multiple bags. It was like nappies and stuff. It was along the forest there at Alston. 5 or 6 bin bags full of rubbish. You know.
Just dumped there?
Just dumped at the side of the road along the forest.
Whereabouts is this just... sorry, I didn't ask you at the beginning.
It's on the back road there between Alston and Kilboy. If you're turning in the back phone station there, it's along that forest there.
Household rubbish, obviously.
Mostly household. A lot of it was nappies and takeaway wrappers and stuff like that, but mostly nappies.
My word. Horrible mess too. If birds get at that and start breaking it open, it can cause an awful mess, or any animals for that matter.
There's a lot of food in it, so the crows are kind of a whole lot pulled across the road, but me and the young girl, them we were yesterday and gathered the whole lot up again.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. Your daughter, she's just 11 years of age. She shouldn't have to, but she did spend the end of her Halloween holidays cleaning up someone else's mess.
That's right. It's last year holidays, Kayla, she's 11. She spent maybe 2 or 3 hours yesterday. She gathered the whole thing up again. She went out this morning and the way to school again. The roads are same. There's a lot of rubbish lying again. Overnight again. A lot of bottles and cans and stuff like that.
But you do clean-ups, don't you? You and your daughter with others. That wouldn't be unusual to come across bottles and cans and what have you.
Bottles and cans, that's fairly common. Like Kayla, and maybe an hour every Saturday morning she would go out and get her a bit, but not so much the bin bags. That's kind of a new one. As people come out and throw in bin bags everywhere next, you know.
Yeah, okay. Fair play to her, by the way, just generally having an interest in keeping the area clean. Where does that come from?
Not to me, I don't know where she gets it from now, but
she just has an interest in the environment.
She likes to keep the place clean and looking good down.
Fair play to her. What do we do, though, Kevin? Because, you know, we hear these cases all the while, and I'm sure as we speak, there are other people probably taking their phone out to text, spotting something similar in their area across the region. How do we get through to people that this is just completely unacceptable behaviour? Because we can't have... You know, we can't have litter wardens on every by road and corner road, you know, to keep an eye on this. But how do we get the message through?
Not so hard, I'm not sure. Maybe like starting from the young ones, like our ones, we taught them from young not to be throwing rubbish out the bin. If you see rubbish in the ground, pick it up and put it in the bin. Like it's as easy to pick the rubbish up and put it in the bin as they throw in the ground.
Yeah.
Like a lot of, I'd say the bin bags doesn't seem to be local. We went through the bin bags. They have names and address. I'm not going to mention them.
Understood.
But it's not locals. We have the names and addresses here. It's not locals. As people come out maybe from the town, driving 5 or 6 miles, they're putting them bin bags in the boots. They're putting petrol in the car. They drive out the countryside. The bin labels for 10 or 11 euro. Why not go to the shop and buy a bin label? Put the rubbish in the bin and it lifts it. Well, that's the easier option. But,
what are you going to do with that info? Would you pass it on to the guards, or do you not want the hassle, or what are you going to do?
I don't think there'll be much on about it. We'd rather just collect the rubbish, get it disposed of properly, and just keep the place clean. We're not looking to punish anybody for it, but just
tell them to look at the economy of it. You're driving out of town into a rural area. How much you're spending on petrol versus how much your bin tag is. The world needs more Kaylas, Kevin. Thanks very much for helping us spread the message. And we just appeal to people to stop.
We just say thanks to the councillor Kevin Bradley there as well. We put up the post yesterday. We had tagged a couple of councillors on the post. And Kevin was the first man to come back to us and says we'll get the rubbish collected tomorrow morning. So
good stuff.
I just want to say thanks to Kevin for that.
All right, fair play, credit where it is due. Thank you very much indeed, and best wishes to Kayla and the rest of the family. Thanks, Kevin. 08660 25,000 if you want to get in on that conversation there. Greg, condolences to the families of the 2 young people who lost their lives in North Inishowen this morning. God love them, all their families and their friends. That's coming in from Mary there. Indeed, I think we can all join in that. Right, I'm going to take a little break and we're going to be back with our next guest after.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
An chlár Employer Excellence de Cuid Fáilte Ireland Oscailtanis de gachsáis cólachta in Arnold na Tuarasóireachta ón siamsa is lú go dtí an tóstán is mó. Glagpórt leis na céite cólacht eile atá gmealla daoine ort chumas a chana féin. An córtha a cuidíon leat daoine a arcú. Chlór ag fáilteireland.ie/Employer Excellence.
New this week at Home Store and More. All cookware sets are all half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price cookware sets are gone, they're gone. Also, all baking trays and tins are still all half price. And when all the half price baking trays and tins are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More, or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. New store now open in Frascati Centre, Blackrock, Dublin. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Tired of forgetting to book your dental appointments like I used to be? The new patient portal at Blue Poppy Dental ends those missed opportunities. Book anytime, anywhere on bluepoppydental.com for routine exams, cleanings or orthodontic, implant or composite bonding consultations. Blue Poppy Dental, Letterkenny and Donegal Town. Medical card patients welcome in our Donegal Town practice.
Easy Living Furniture would like to invite you, our customers, to our annual Family and Friends event this Thursday, the 9th of November from 1 o'clock. We'll be offering a magical 50% off all Christmas stock for one day only, including Christmas trees, decorations, baubles, garlands, wreaths and so much more. Don't miss out on our most enchanting sale of the year. Visit Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park this Thursday from 1 p.m.
Uno, dos, tres. A hain, a do, a tree. 1, 2, 3. The Arona, the Ateca and the Tarraco. 3 great SUVs from Seat. And when you order now, you can enjoy 3 years free tyre insurance and 3 years roadside assistance, plus 3 flexible payment options to purchase your new Seat. Visit seat.ie to discover even more of our fantastic offers. Great things come in threes at DMG Motors, Donegal Town. And while I have 3 seconds, allow me to say that yes, terms and conditions apply.
Education Minister Norma Foley is expected to bring a memo to Cabinet saying she would like a collective decision by parents not to buy phones for their young children. It comes as calls mount for a voluntary code restricting smartphone use for children under 13, which should be adopted by all primary schools and agreed on by all parents. Using mobile phones, we know, can have multiple effects in children. Well, a leading psychologist is warning parents of the dangers of mobile devices on the mental and physical health of young children and teenagers. She is chartered psychologist Catherine Hallisey and joins us now. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning.
It's great to have you back on the programme.
Thank you.
What are the impacts of mobile phone use on young people that we know of? Because, I mean, I think some of it's obvious, and their attention is away, their head's stuck in a phone, you can see the white on their face, it doesn't feel right? But I mean, in the medium to long term, do we know yet what the impact of prolonged use of these devices actually is?
That's such an important question. The research is not conclusive simply because we don't have enough longitudinal data. And rather than demonizing phones, I prefer to look at each aspect in isolation and to see the impact on overall well-being. So we know that more time spent on phones means that there's less time moving your body. And we know that physical activity is incredibly protective for everybody's mental health, children, teenagers, adults. So anything that is reducing our physical activity, there's an opportunity cost here that we need to talk about. We also know there are studies that show that excessive phone use leads to sleep deprivation. The vast majority of teenagers will sleep with their phones on beside them in bed. So many teenagers who come to my clinic tell me that they do actually check their phones right throughout the night. Mm-hmm. There are friends reaching out to one another because their drive is to connect with one another at that age. That's their developmental task. But anything that negatively impacts sleep, we know is detrimental to mental health. because a good night's sleep is so protective. It helps to reduce anxiety, ordinary everyday anxiety, but also over the long term, sleep deprivation actually has a very negative impact on mental health.
So in the first instance, it can be tough to sort of not, to completely withhold a mobile phone. We'll get to that in a moment. So at the very least, if parents, guardians say don't take your phone to bed, or no phones after a certain time, and it's sitting on the kitchen table for you when you get up in the morning, that in and of itself would be really quite effective, presumably in preserving the sleep cycle.
Very much so. I'm not a fan of demonizing anything. It's simply about examining it and getting more and more intentional. So I recommend that every single person, children and adults, do not take their phones into their rooms. I did that a few years ago. I stopped taking my phone into my room, and I got an alarm clock, and it had a hugely beneficial impact.
You got a what? What? It's not the 1930s, an alarm clock.
And but
can you get Facebook on it?
It stopped the dreaded roll and scroll. Turn off the alarm, check the phone.
Guilty of it myself.
15, 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And depending on what's in the particular news cycle, you could start your day incredibly stressed by what you're seeing on your phone. Yeah. So again, I'm talking about isolating all the potential impacts. So we know the roll and scroll makes you lose time, so it reduces productivity, but it also can greatly impact your mood. And then you go out and you try and connect with your family members, but you're already in bad form. Mm-hmm. So again, it's not about phones are bad. It's about how we use them needs to be examined so that we can optimize them.
But I think that's a reasonable compromise for all of us, isn't it? And for all the reasons you've outlined, that you wake up in the morning, maybe you want to hop out of bed to get to your phone, I don't know, but you're not impacted straight away by something negative or what have you. You have a good night's sleep, and then you still have access to your device during the day. And of course, that's all age dependent. But as I say, I think that's a fair enough compromise for your own well-being.
Yeah, I'm only interested in following the data. I'm not interested in any hand-wringing or demonizing anything or making anyone feel bad. So for anybody listening here and they've already bought a phone for their child, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm simply saying we need to get ahead of it. We need to really think about how we use it. And I do a lot of work with adults around managing their own screen use. This isn't just about children, it's about us. We always need, and this is the hard part for anyone listening, we need to start with ourselves. Mm-hmm. Think about the type of phone use you are modeling, because you cannot expect more from your child than you expect from yourself.
Yeah. I just sometimes feel that these devices are so integrated into our lives now that it's almost a tide that can't be pushed back, but we can't allow that to not allow us to give our children the best starts that we can. So I think the idea of whatever way this legislation or whatever form this takes, people might say, oh, well, parents shouldn't need, the government to step in, this, that and the other. But I think it makes it easier for them to relate, the argument to the children. Because at the moment, if you've got a class of 20, 11-year-olds, right, 19 have a phone and you want to take the stand with your child, it puts everyone in a very difficult situation. If there was sort of a uniform acceptance that they shouldn't have a phone, well, then it makes you... it makes your job a little bit easier. And I think maybe that's where this legislation or guidance or whatever it might be becomes very useful.
No, that is so spot on. So I have an online membership for parents called Reclaim Parenthood. And every single time the mobile phone question comes up in the group, there are some parents in the group whose schools actually have this in place, this voluntary charter that the parents can sign up to where they agree not to get their child a phone when they're in primary school. It's totally voluntary. But what these parents have said is, I hear it so often, I'm so glad this is one less thing for us to worry about. I'm so glad that I don't have to navigate the thing of I'm the only one in my class who doesn't have Snapchat. And, there are very real social consequences if your child is the only one.
There is. And then that's what happens with the parents and guardians. You see, then you sort of start saying, right, I don't want them to have a phone because it'd be quite a negative impact. But then standing your ground on that, you start wondering, well, what is the impact on them? Are they being excluded? Is it affecting them psychologically in a different way? So, even if you want to be that parent, you're in a catch-22.
Yeah, and I have been that parent, and I can tell you it did have a social impact and does have a social impact. However, what I say to my children, look, unfortunately for you, I know the research. unfortunately for you, this is my bread and butter. It's my day in, day out. And I think what has happened is because phones are such a part of all of our lives, we can almost feel helpless as parents. And we can think, oh, well, they need to be digitally literate, or they need to have these skills, or I don't want them to feel left out. But if you're making the choice, like let's say your school doesn't have this in place and you're making the choice not to have a phone, you then need to commit to other ways to support their social interaction. So that's what I've done. I live in the countryside, so I've said, okay, I just need to be totally okay with dropping them here, there, and everywhere to meet their friends. I need our house to be the house where people come and hang out. So I have 5 kids, so on Fridays there are 10 children here every Friday, because everybody will bring a friend over. And that's just the choice that I've made. Not everybody can make that choice. I'm not saying these are perfect choices.
But you kind of see an interesting dynamic, I would say, on a Friday, because I presume none of the children have a mobile device or access to them. So you get to observe the creatures in the wild, so to speak.
Yeah.
But, how they interact and how quickly, the habit of looking down and going with your finger, how that gets replaced by activity that perhaps, people of my age would be more used to as a child. Do you see that? Do you observe that?
Definitely. And, children are incredible. Children are so adaptable to whatever is in place in the house. And again, it's so important that anybody listening here realizes that there is no directive from me saying this is what you should do or this is what you shouldn't do. The only should I'm talking about is reflecting on your own values. So what do you want for your children? So my dream for my children is that childhood is extended for as long as possible, that I minimize their exposure to adult content before they're developmentally ready, that play is protected, because again, I know the research on play and psychological well-being. I know the research on in-person connection with family members and pets, about how that has a positive benefit on psychological well-being. So the future isn't guaranteed for any of us, but all I'm interested in is stacking the odds in their favor. And that's what I want for every child. Of course, it's my job as a psychologist. This is what I want. I want parents to be empowered so that they can stack the odds in their child's favor, and that parents can genuinely feel empowered that the little things they're doing actually have a long-term benefit.
And up until now, we've kind of been talking about simply the interaction, even if it were a blank screen, i.e. how it affects their sleep, how it reduces their mobility. We haven't even spoken to then about what they're accessing on there. I mean, you touched on it in terms of adult content or what have you, but, everything is designed to draw them in. TikTok, amazing, don't get me wrong, but it's designed there, the algorithm feeds people of a certain age certain things to sort of entice them and interest them and what have you, and the same with other apps as well. That's even another layer that we really haven't dug into in terms of the prolonged, usage of a mobile phone at a certain young age.
Yes, and look, I work with a lot of children who have had accidental exposure to adult content and how that has had a very negative impact on them. Now, for the vast majority of children, it won't have a very negative impact. For some children, it will. It will lead to intrusive thoughts and images. But even looking at, there were a lot of adults who are in touch with me at the moment about how the news for the last 4 weeks is impacting them. People are talking about vicarious trauma, and these are adults with fully developed brains. So when I'm hearing this from adults, I'm also thinking about all of the young people who are also being exposed to a lot of this incredibly distressing content, incredibly distressing images and videos, and how that is impacting their psychological well-being.
And your brain matures, doesn't it? And I presume its capability to process or analyse or compartmentalise or whatever the correct thing in the brain should do. Early exposure to stuff doesn't fast track that. I mean, the young mind has to be protected, I presume, as it develops. And, at a certain age, there's enough development to be able to process things, coupled presumably with general life experiences and what have you.
Yes, well, the prefrontal cortex isn't fully formed until the mid-20s to, around 29-ish. We're learning more and more about the brain all of the time, but we know that there are certain parts of the brain that take much longer to develop, and you can't fast track it. So when you're exposed to things before you're developmentally ready, it can have a profound impact on you. And look, we know that people in general are resilient. So it's not about removing all potential harms. It's simply about how can we pace things? How can we keep people in their developmental task? So in primary school, their developmental task is all around learning through play. It's all around forming social interaction through play. And yes, of course, you can play on phones, but it's not actually the same in terms of free play, creative play. And yes, you can definitely do creative things on screens, but we just don't know enough about that yet, whereas we have a lot of very strong evidence base to say we need to protect this in-person free play, in-person interaction, and even the non-verbal communication skills, helping our children really develop their understanding of those. Because again, we know that isn't fully formed, even in adolescence. Your capacity to interpret nuance, facial expression, tone of voice, all of these things, which are lost when you are just messaging.
And listen, pre-mobile phone, you can often tell the children who were exposed to American TV shows because they will replace words like pavement with sidewalk or whatever it might be, and end up having some sort of a tang to their accents. So even before mobile phones, we can see what the impact exposure, even for an hour a day, might have. A caller says, Greg, this is interesting. I spoke with some teachers at the weekend and they were saying the number of children unable to use a pencil is increasing. Computers may be great, but we need to keep the writing skills alive. Personally, not that really my view matters, I'm not terribly concerned about that. I'm not sure how much, pencil writing is going to be critical in the future. I think that maybe is a different situation. I don't know what your views on that. Yes, it would be romantic in me would love to see them doing the homework with a pen and pencil. It is more really their development, how they interact with other people, and of course being active and their physical health. That's what more of a concern to me. It's an interesting observation from the teacher there, but maybe that is just the way it's going, that we're not going to be physically writing things.
Well, actually, the pencil grip isn't the issue. It's more about the fine motor skills. So pencil grip is just one fine motor skill. So if you are seeing children who have difficulty holding a pencil, I don't actually care much about pencil grip. What it's indicating is that there are issues with fine motor skills, and that actually is a problem.
Yeah, okay.
That is something that does have an impact. And there are some interesting emerging studies on the bone development in the hands and about how all of this hands-on play is incredibly important for fine motor skills, but also, how the hand is. And like anybody who has experienced repetitive strain injury, it knows how painful that is. Yeah. And you certainly don't want your child to have repetitive strain. And one of the issues with the lack of free play when it's all adult directed play is children are practicing skills repetitively, whether it's organized sport or organized games, rather than the free movement. And physios will talk about the children that they're seeing now, younger and younger, with injuries from sport, when they're not having the overall skills, the overall gross motor skills of jumping, running, playing, start, stop, that you would get in natural play that children do when they're allowed to play freely.
Okay. It's an all interesting area, and it's somewhat separate, but just briefly, Catherine, I was chatting to a person who specialised in speech therapy with young people recently, and they were saying that not one of the greatest problems, but a major issue at the moment in delayed speech and what have you is cocomelon. That it is too visually stimulating, and it doesn't assist in any way. That there are other programs that they can watch for a bit and it actually helps with their speech development, but they're seeing an increasing trend of, particularly with delayed speech where there's no other issues present, cocomelon is often a feature there. So again, what we take in can impact our development, really, is the point I was trying to make there.
But I would just pause on that one. I would be really cautious about saying anything like that. What's much more likely is so unless a child is sitting in front of that program for 24 hours a day, I would be 99% sure that is not causing the speech issues. what's much more likely to be causing the speech issues is actually there are lots of things going on in terms of our society.
But it's no coincidence. I take what the point you're making, but there is no coincidence, presumably, and you talk about the facts and figures, that if you watch BBC-created children's programmes, that there is a deliberate learning process through that a speech therapist might say that is better, more useful than not. So if that is the case, when you have something that is very overly stimulating for children and doesn't offer any, it's very repetitive and doesn't offer any educational benefit, it has to, if one is better, then it has to have some level of an impact, surely.
Well, everything is dose dependent. So how much time, again, looking at opportunity cost. Look, I watched unbelievable trash on TV when I was a child. Loads of us did. Like I'm a child of the 80s. So I think it can be seductive to talk about particular programs, but we need to look at the evidence base.
Okay, and I know you don't want to
I'll just share one particular thing
Yeah.
about that. It's actually parent-child interaction that is has the biggest impact on a child's speech development and what's called parent ease. So there's so much more. I'd love to talk to you about that another time.
We'll do that another time, a particular one actually, because I think a lot of parents would find that useful. So maybe if you're open to that, Catherine, just in terms of how we interact with particularly the very young children, to bring them on, that's definitely worthy of another item. Thank you so much for your time, Catherine.
Thank you
too. It's lovely to have you on the show. Take care of yourself. And we'll not fall out over Cocomelon, okay? Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. All right, that was Catherine Hallisay there. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. Give us a call on 07491 25,000.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Hi, Tommy Bow here. Get in store to check out my new 15 Kings clothing collection, available in premium gents outfitters nationwide and at 15kings.com.
Businesses, order your gift vouchers for Christmas now from BizPrint the Printers. Also personalised calendars, Christmas cards, diaries, draw tickets and much more at great prices from BizPrint, Port Road, Letterkenny. See bizprint.ie.
Adult Safeguarding Day takes place this month. Safeguarding involves keeping ourselves free from harm and protecting our rights. This includes all adults planning ahead to reduce the risk of adult abuse.
Go-to actions that we can all take to plan ahead are to make an enduring power of attorney, designate a health representative, and choose who can assist with decisions. From Safeguarding Ireland, supported by the HSE.
Get informed at safeguardingday.ie.
Hi, Nathan Carter here, and I'm delighted to say I've just had 2 installations from Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, and I have to say their attention to detail is second to none. With their sleek design and craftsmanship, your dream kitchen is just a visit away. So why not head over to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms and let the magic begin.
Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, Donegal Town. More kitchens your way since 1996. Visit cherrymore.ie or call 9725822 to book your free design appointment.
Bingo every Monday night at the Halfway House Burnfoot. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. €2,500 must go. Snowball is now €1,900 on 45 numbers or less. If you're not in, you can't win. That's Halfway House Bingo tonight at 8:30.
Show the Monday blues the door. Kick them into touch. Banish them for good. With a wee treat at Kelly's Diner in Letterkenny. Maybe a coffee and scone or an all-day breakfast or a burger and chip. With American-style booth seating, fast and friendly service, a menu packed with tasty choices at great value and loads of parking, it's a great stop-off any day of the week. Take back your Mondays at Kelly's Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. From condensing oil and HVO biofuel boilers to heat pumps and underfloor heating, you can trust Grant to heat your home. Visit grant.ie.
Okay, scattered showers and occasional sunshine today. Some of the showers heavy and may cause spot flooding. Cool with highest temperatures of 9 to 11 degrees and a moderate to fresh westerly wind. You know, some things that are so... You just think people wouldn't be capable of, and then you see it for your own eyes and realise they are. There are an individual or people or persons who are going through obituary notices of people who have passed away and creating Facebook pages which state, and I presume it's the one page they changed the name of, stating that you can watch the live stream of their funeral. And then when you do click in, because a lot of people might think that interesting, when you click in, then it looks for your credit card details to give you access to it. It's an absolute scam. But I just thought it remarkable that there is an individual or a group or whatever in, not in Donegal, but certainly going through the obituary notices in the county, identifying people, creating a Facebook page that says, you know, Greg Hughes, watch funeral mass here, and then you click into it and you have to input your details. So just keep an eye out for that. I presume it's a scam. But I saw it on a couple of occasions over the last week, and only clicked one just out of curiosity. And I thought, why would they be seeking? My credit card details anyway? Pharmacists will soon be able to extend the life of a prescription from 6 to 12 months. It's part of a measure to enhance the role of pharmacists and limit the pressure on GP services. Health Minister Stephen Donnelly says from the 1st of March next, the extension will also mean many patients are able to continue medication without the need for a repeat prescription. Tom Murray is Treasurer of the Irish Pharmaceutical Union, and he joins us now. Tom, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Good. On the face of it, this seems like a good idea. Pharmacists have said, you know, we've got a skill set, we've got expertise, we can help in certain areas. Is it as simple as that? Do you believe this is good news?
I do. We welcome it very much. So I suppose the task force was set up in July, and the Minister had asked the task force to report to him by the end of October. It's clear that they have done their job. There's 13 experts on the task force, including representatives of the IMO and doctors, and they have said that they recognise the clinical skills of pharmacists, and I suppose, as you say there, in terms of reducing waiting lists at GPs and freeing up some GP time, they have said that after consultation, where a pharmacist deems it appropriate, so if somebody's unstable on the same medicine for a long time, for example, blood pressure medicines, that the pharmacist can make a decision to extend the prescription up to 12 months, or indeed the GP can also prescribe a 12-month prescription from the 1st of March as well. So it's an extension of the prescription validity at the discretion either of the GP or the pharmacist to extend it from 6 months to 12 months, which will make it more convenient for patients who won't have to revisit their doctor every 6 months if there's no clinical need.
Do you think, because obviously the patient themselves might deem there is a clinical need and want to go to the GP to be on the safe side, do you think this measure in and of itself is going to really alleviate the pressure on GPs, or will we have to see what other layers of measures go on top of this?
Well, this is the first of hopefully several layers of measures, as you alluded to there. And where a patient deems that they wish to go and see a GP, there's nothing going to stop a patient wishing to do that. If a pharmacist deems that they can extend the prescription, it's after consultation with the patient. So it's not just a patient walks in and says, for example, I don't want to pay the doctor for another private prescription, so you extend that to 12 months instead of 6 months. It's a consultation based on clinical need, using the pharmacist's skills and recognising the pharmacist's expertise on medicines to say, actually, it is appropriate for that, but it's not going to refuse. It's not a case where a patient says, I want to see a doctor and anybody's going to refuse that. Absolutely not at all. It is the first of hopefully several measures, including, as we've talked about before, a minor ailment scheme whereby pharmacists will be able to prescribe or to supply medicines on the medical card that we currently do privately. If the like of yourself walked into my pharmacy and you asked for a cold or cough remedy or a flu remedy or a hay fever remedy, I would sell it to you. If you have a medical card, you have to go to the doctors to get it on your medical card. So that's another of the hopeful recommendations that will come out from the task force. These measures together will alleviate queues and pressure on GPs.
All right, it's progress. Okay, interesting. Tom, as always, thank you so very much. That's Tom Murray, who's Treasurer of the Irish Pharmaceutical Union. That comes in effect from March 1st. Pharmacists having the power to extend prescriptions up to a maximum of 12 months for patients if they feel it is appropriate. Do you think you would avail of that service? Is that good news? Just back to the use of mobile phones in young people. Parents use these devices as a pacifier and to keep them out of their hair. It's the parenting skills that need looked at. There is going to be an element of that, but you see, just because maybe that is the case, it doesn't mean we can't take a step back and go, right, let's reassess here. The media and public need a narrative of good versus evil, but the Israel conflict, Hamas wants the total annihilation of Israel. How can you negotiate with this ideology? Ireland is an anti-Semite country and the leftists in Ireland are responsible for this? I don't know. I don't think it's... I'm not saying that your depiction of the Irish is correct, but also, people are able to think for themselves as well in this country. I think we're pretty good at that. The only way to stop litter is to put bins into the household charge. Then every house will have a bin. Well, the household charge is not for that at all, but I take your point. In the north, they pay rates and the bins are included in the charge. What's littering like? You're listening to us there in the likes of Derry and Tyrone. Is there an issue with littering? Do you believe that your bins being included as part of your rates means there's not as much litter as you might see in Donegal? Let us know. 086 from the north, 0035386 60 25,000.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Finding a new car takes time. Searching, researching, comparing, test driving, shortlisting. It doesn't happen overnight, but 12 days should do it. Between November 1st and 12th, the 12 Days of Ford sales event can save you up to a whopping €5,000 on the Ford Kuga. With further offers for 2024 available on Puma and Focus when you finance with Ford options. No rush, but do get a move on. Ford, bring on tomorrow. T's and C's apply at participating dealers until November 12th. Visit Ford.ie for details.
Well, Grace, how are you today?
I'm good. I've just been down to the Made to Measure Fireplaces showroom in Creasla. They have an incredible selection of over 40 colours for kitchen worktops. And guess what? For a limited time, they're offering a 40% discount on any electric fire when you purchase a worktop there.
40%? That's an amazing deal, Grace.
Absolutely. And trust me, if the discount alone doesn't sway you, their huge selection of fireplaces, stoves, wood pellet burners, beams and stone cladding certainly will.
Contact Made to Measure Fireplaces Creasla on 074 91 38 365 on Facebook, Instagram and on mtmfireplaces.ie.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure, supporting you with the right footwear. Hoka Trainers. Have you tried the Hoka Sensation yet? Hoka provides comfort, support and shock absorption, which makes them a good choice for frequent runners and walkers, or anyone whose job requires standing for the majority of the day. For support or pronation, try the Arari 6. For maximum cushioning, try Hoka Bondi 8. Check in store or shop online at bmcsports.ie. Step into our safe size experience at Brian McCormick Sports.
At On Post, we believe in giving you more power over how you bank. That's why AIB and Bank of Ireland customers can now lodge and withdraw money at any of our 900 post offices across Ireland 6 days a week. That's right, your bank is in your post office for personal and business banking alike, meaning you can bank wherever you live or work. Visit your local post office or onpost.com/everydaybanking. On Post, your money for your world. Allied Irish Banks plc and Bank of Ireland are regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, heading into the last hour of the programme, but at 11 o'clock, let's get a news update. And it's good morning again to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The Cathaoirleach of the Inishowen Municipal District says the latest road tragedy in Inishowen is heartbreaking. A man and woman, both aged 18, were killed in a crash near Glenealy at 12:30 this morning. The R238 remains closed between Glenealy and Culdaff. Gardaí in Buncrana are appealing to anyone who may have witnessed the collision or has dashcam footage to come forward. A Finn Valley councillor says he wants answers from the HSE as to why people who traditionally received respite care in St Joseph's Hospital in Stranraer are now being referred to private nursing homes, while patients discharged from Letterkenny University Hospital are being sent to St Joseph's for step-down treatment. Councillor Patrick McGowan said on this morning's 9 to Noon show he can't get answers because of a Forza embargo, but he wants the situation addressed. Last week, the HSE said it must organise services in the best interests of patients. The chair of Donegal County Council's Defective Concrete Block Committee is calling on the Housing Minister to ensure defective block homeowners who have paid for initial testing are reimbursed as a matter of urgency. Under the previous redress scheme, the householder was required to cover testing costs. That's not the case with the new enhanced scheme. Those on the old scheme are being reimbursed after they're transferred, but it's feared it may be the end of next year before some of those out of pocket finally receive payment. Councillor Mark McDermott says it must happen more quickly. There are over 800 teacher vacancies at schools across the country. A joint INTO, Irish Primary Principals Network and Catholic Schools Management Association survey found 28% of all schools have long-term vacancies. The figure is 50% in Desh schools and Gaelscoilena and 43% in special schools. And more than 4 in 10 people want a home care scheme paid for by the person receiving the care and the state. That's according to a new poll by Sage Advocacy. The Commission on Care begins reviewing services here this week. There are plans to introduce a statutory home care scheme which could involve a payment. Sage Advocacy's chair says 8 in 10 of those surveyed believe home care is overly concentrated on private providers. They're the headlines. Back with headlines again at 12 noon.
Thanks very much indeed, Donald. Brendan Devaney is going to be joining us in studio, previewing the DL debate very shortly.
As a woman, you know your body better than anyone. But when you're looking for answers, Irish Life Health now gives you access to GPs who are specialists in female health, in areas like menstrual health, contraception, fertility and menopause. To find out more, search Irish Life Female Health. Female health consultation available on all hospital plans from September 1st, 2023. T's and C's apply. Irish Life Health DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
All right.
The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
An chlór Employer Excellence de chuid Fáilte Ireland oscail denis de gachsáis cólachta in Arnold na Tuarasóireachta ón siamsa is lú go dtí an tóstán is mó. Glagpórt leis na céite cólacht eile atá meala daoine ort chumas go chana féin. An córtha a chuid díonlaat daoine a arcú. Chlór ag fáilteIreland.ie/employer excellence.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark-approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
I've just had the Eclipse Cinemas experience. Wow, they truly have taken a night at the movies to a whole new level. Amazing recliner chairs, director's lounge VIP rooms, pizza and hot food served to your seat. Have a glass of wine and enjoy the film on the big screen. Try it for yourself at Eclipse Cinemas Bundoran and Lifford Strabane, where the stars shine brighter. By the way, the pizzas are amazing. You can book your seat anytime at eclipsecinemas.ie.
Hi folks, Gavin here from Divers Hyundai in Letterkenny to tell you about 2 Grand Tuesday, our one-off used car sale event. This Tuesday, November 7th, all used cars at Divers will have €2,000 off the listed prices online. Yes, that's $2 grand off every car for one day only. No gimmicks, no games, no joke. That's 2 Grand Tuesday, this coming Tuesday at Divers Hyundai, Canal Road, Letterkenny. We're open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on the day. For details, see diversgarage.ie.
Shop Evolve Clothing for Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, Paul & Shark, Gant, and many more casual and streetwear brands. Menswear Superstore, Letterkenny Retail Park, or online at evolveclothing.com. 2 floors of fashion, open 7 days.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
Now, the time's 11:05. Sorry, flew into an ad break there. We are in studio now with Brendan Devaney. We're looking forward to this week, tonight's DL debate. Good morning, Brent.
Good morning, Greg.
Good to have you on board. How are you keeping?
Thank you. Yeah, keeping the best, sir.
Right. Narossa, controversy. I didn't see it or haven't read anything at it, but a few texts. People want to know what your views are. What happened?
Yeah, listen, it all come down to officiating. You know, the man in the middle, Richie Donahue, just a malaise of red cards, black cards, yellow cards. I mean, it was just chaos what was happening there. You know, Narasa got into a fantastic lead, had 2 goals in a minute, and were well in control of the game. But then black cards, sendings off. You know, obviously they weren't all players. You know, some of the manager himself and the physio got red cards, and so it was a real heated game. It didn't sound like it should have been like that. But, you know, Declan's had the views up online there, and he says in all his time in football he never seen anything like it.
And he has seen a lot.
Yeah, 2-5 to 1-9, and you'd think after 15 minutes, you know, they had that 2-1, 2-2 on the board. So, I mean, it just shows you the effect that had in the rest of the game for them, being able to get the ball into scoring positions and that, and it became a bit of an entrenched game, which they didn't come out on the right side and they'd late chance to equalise.
They've had a really, really long season, you know, and probably even... you know, all the prep then has to go in to continue the campaign in Ulster. For that all to be undone, seemingly what it must feel like outside of their control, and for the fans, like this is gonna sit poorly for quite some time.
Yeah, of course they had a challenge after they won it. Of course, by Moville, you know, there was a technicality there, but you know, they went into Ulster and like a massive time. I mean, the club was on the brink of going under. Just a few years ago, numbers, and as we know, Greg, we were all clubs in that, so they pulled it together and they got the club back on track. And of course, Declan, you know, everything he's done, playing in the game, managing and playing has been phenomenal. Of course, he takes the reins. As soon as he took it, he thought, right, there's a championship tilt on here. They got across the line, and of course, we've seen some fantastic runs over the years from teams in Ulster, right across the board now from Donegal teams, which wasn't always the case. So I'm sure they thought, you know, you dare to dream, you get into Ulster playing the Fermanagh Champions List Ski, and after a phenomenal start. I mean, when you think about it then, I mean, 7 yellow cards, 4 black cards, you know, and all the reds, you know, 3 to Narasa players. It just sounds like something chaos. Why did that happen? And you look at any game, right, there's no reason for a game unless there's some season animosity between 2 teams, and this is 2 teams who never play each other. You can't have that amount of things happening. So Brendan O'Connor is doing co-com for us at the weekend. It's going to be up, so it'll be interesting to get his views.
On the plus side, I saw the Dunlow ladies live this year. Brilliant team, and seem to have huge depth. They look like they could field 2 good teams. That's paying dividends for them in Ulster.
Yeah, interestingly, Declan Bunner's man inside him for a famous 92 one, Tony Boyle, of course, he's the manager of that team. So the 2 guys doing great work out there. Of course, his daughters are playing and to the fore in them teams as well, and just about got across the line against T Holland. And listen, Monaghan ladies football is always strong as well, so Dunlow edging them out 3-10 to 2-12. Good high scoring game, very entertaining game, and they march on to the final now, Greg, where they're playing the champions of Cavan, Lavey. So again, Greg, that thing about going into Ulster, it's, and for people, you know, you play your championship here, and again, you know so many teams and clubs and grounds. Next thing you're out of that comfort zone, you're playing teams you don't know, you're in the dark nights and that, and you're representing Donegal, so fair play to Dunlow, and magic for them. They're on the up and up, and I'll be chatting to John McNulty later in the show, the new ladies manager, and you're looking for a spread of teams across the board, you know, no matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's men's football, you need a spread of teams pulling into the county. Dunlow are on the up. That's only going to help Donegal ladies football, and as well with the hurling teams.
Well, everyone has stopped the game, don't they?
That's
you know, they or any team drag them up. Is hurling still on the up and up? On the face of it, it seems.
Yeah,
hurling.
2 huge ones at the weekend. I mean, you'd have to say Ballinascreen, St. got into the Lions Den. It sounded like a rough game now. In fairness, it sounded like a tough one. There was a lot of ill discipline from the match report from Ryan Ferry, who's coming on the show to talk about it, particularly from the Ballinascreen side. And listen, St. were going in there as underdogs, so the 1-3-13 to 110 is absolutely phenomenal. And you got to remember as well, Greg, this layoff that we had, the way the hurling championship, I don't think it was right, was played off before kind of our own club championship kicked in for the football, meant you had this massive layoff. It's basically a new season, so to come in there, you could say you could be caught cold. So for them to dominate the game, And of course, Jared Gilmore, we talk about time and time again, hadn't won 9. I mean, absolute class act. And listen, brilliant by Satanta and St. Eunan's as well, absolutely destroying Oma St. Enda's 424 to 9 points. So two brilliant performances by our hurling teams.
And it is a busy one. They're always busy, but this one in particular. Interesting chat with John McNulty, I'm sure. He's the new ladies senior manager. A lot of it will be interesting to see his direction or where he believes they're at, where they can go, who's going to replace maybe, some of the stars of the game that probably won't be available going forward. That's going to be an interesting chat, Brendan. Yeah,
very experienced. John McNulty coming in. He's coached quite a few teams here in Donegal, and recently this year, Rua, who surprised everybody by their performances in the championship. And even that night I got to see them against St. Eunan's, I was really impressed with how he had them set up and how they were on the ball and off the ball, and even the attacking element they had to his game. So listen, I think that's a very good fit. I think he's a very intelligent manager, and as you said, there's somewhat of a new team going to have to be built here, so it's a bit of a project for him. Maxi Curran, of course, did fantastic work this last number of years. We're well beaten by Dublin in last year's championship. Of course, we beat the Dubs a year before, so there still is a group in and around there, but there certainly is a stage of a new team has to be developed. So it's good to give John this tenure and let him work.
And it's a long-term plan, because there is good work. Like if I'm not mistaken, there are fantastic girls, who are playing under 12s, under 13s, I can't remember exactly the age groups, but they get an opportunity to train with the senior women as well. So there's always an eye on who's coming through, and it's to make sure that talent is kept harnessed, not overdone, and brought through. I mean, you wouldn't really realise there's such a long-term plan in replacing players in a big team.
Yeah, and certainly, of course, the minors this year under 17s, they won the All Ireland, but it was at the C level. And you heard Maxie talk about that in his time frame there, that the other top teams that Donegal were competing with, they were competing at the higher levels at underage. Now there obviously is this argument of how much comes through, but for the ladies, they come through much younger, they play much earlier than the men. So the underage is probably more important even for them, that we're competing at a high level, because if they're going to come in and step in, as young as like 16, 17, 18, the possibility of them joining a senior squad is there. So this thing of the girls being ready, to come in, be part of the backroom team, and then eventually
come in. Conveyor belt. So
yeah, that's it. It's very important. It happens much, as I say earlier.
And I think it's just in terms of how people develop and grow and stuff as well, so you can kind of see all that logic. So it's a packed show. Loads of guests. Brendan Kilcoyne discuss. Just on that Narossa thing, how can you defend 5 men being sent off? Seriously, I don't think you defended that. Because did you see the game? No.
No.
So in the absence of actually seeing it with your own eyes, you can only read the report and go, what the hell was going on there? And it's clear. Ask Brendan what he thought of the officials at the Narossa game. Again, we're going off match reports. That's all going to be teased out.
Yeah,
with
listen,
the man that was there.
That's why Brendan's on. Yeah, I'm on baby watch at the minute. I couldn't make it. We're a wee bit overdue now.
You've never looked fresh. You've never looked fresher. This baby watching is good.
I'm getting my sleep in now.
That's what I'm saying. You've never looked better, Brendan.
Thanks.
You look about 22.
Thank you. I'll take that.
Come back to me in about a month.
I got a bit of work done there.
Did you?
That's what they call it now. I think it's acceptable.
A bit of work. Yeah, hey, listen, there's no shame in that game. All right, listen, brilliant stuff. The show's on from 7 p.m. this evening. You can listen to it live, the DL debate, just after 7. It's a very popular show. Loads of people too love to listen to it as a podcast, and it's all in association with Sarah's Kitchen at Sister Sarah's Letterkenny. I just want to remind people, Brendan, that of course another string to your bow is the ball, the DV ball coming up, and it is lots of tables already sold. There's still a few tables left if people want to get involved in that and support the charities and have a great night out.
That's it. Yeah, we've had 30 tables sold. Great reaction date so far, 24th of November in the Mount Errigal. So yeah, come along if you can. If not, there's a GoFundMe for the charities, plan.ie, the Donegal Hospice and Epilepsy Ireland.
And if you if baby duty is just taking its toll, I'll sub in for you if you want.
Well, yeah. Will you stand in? That'll boost the table sales. I'll walk out the door. There'll be a few extra people.
No, that's the phone ringing with cancellations, Brendan. No, Brendan.
They're a proper presenter, do it.
No, you can't do that bluffing anymore. Between your own podcast, your punditry, You and Jimmy Stafford waffling.
Me and Jimmy,
on a Wednesday night. You know,
right.
You're a presenter now, Brendan, so you can't hide. You can't hide behind inexperience now. All right, Brendan Devaney. As I say, if you want to book a table, just give us the details to people out there, because I think it's a great way to start the night out.
Just take us here at Highland. There's tickets at Sister Sarah's, the Dry Arts Complex, and of course Mount Errigal Hotel. And if you want to phone up, if you want to book it, they'll take your name and details there for the night at the Mount Errigal. You can ring the Mount Errigal, and they will.
And it's going to be a great night of chat and conversation, a bit of comedy, a bit of music, talk of sport, of course. It's going to be a cracker. All right, Brendan, listen, thanks very much for that.
Greg.
Really appreciate it. Brendan Devaney there. Right, I'm going to crack on actually, because I took the break early, so I'll just carry on with some of your comments. As it relates to dumping, a caller says the same thing is happening in Carndonagh. People are dumping rubbish everywhere, and it's all household rubbish. No need for it at all, they say. Hi, Greg. Just watched the BBC News there. They say the Israelis have split Gaza into northern Gaza, southern Gaza. The phrase "to hell or to Connacht" comes to mind. I wonder, what does rank and file Fianna Fáil supporters think of the Israeli ambassador attending the Fianna Fáil Ardèche at the weekend? What was the purpose of the invite? What would it achieve? Perhaps you may get a Fianna Fáil spokesperson on your show and explain, but the rank and files are listening to us as well. What do you think? 086 60 25,000. Greg, how are Ukrainians able to go to a safe country and then come to Ireland later? I was under the impression that most of them arrived in a country with very few possessions. They may of course have money in the bank. Most Ukrainians who arrived here would have been brought in as part of a group, I would think. But if you're in Germany or wherever you are and you decide to go it alone and head to Dublin, how do you get into the system here if you arrive on your own, or is it just a family? Well, you can just come in and enter the system. Say, for instance, not to conflate the issues, but if people who are leaving Gaza, an absolute bombardment, no escape. The situation in Ukraine is somewhat different. Anywhere in the country could be hit, but only certain places there's an imminent, obvious danger, if that makes sense, i.e. tanks on the ground, soldiers with guns and what have you. Some people are going to be well-resourced. They can pack the car up, even stick a trailer on and, drive away. There's no... You don't have to be. You don't have to have no money to leave Ukraine for your safety. Is the point I'm trying to make. Whether you believe that to be right or wrong, that's why you see cars here and what have you. If it's the same in Ireland, some people would take their cars with them, I'm sure. Hi, Greg. Wonder if you've come across a text message I received today. ESB, you are eligible for a discounted electricity bill under the Energy Support Scheme, and then it gives you a URL to follow. It is, of course, a scam. Incometaxrevenuecredit.com. That is one of the biggest. Giveaways there. Firstly, it's a link in a text message or an email. Never ever click them, please. But secondly, it's a made-up URL, just to design to look legit. But clearly, when you see incometaxrevenuecredit.com, that's clearly is a scam there. It's terrible, children getting killed in schools, but this happened in Afghanistan and Iraq years ago. Nobody talked about it. A genocide went on with the British Army and nobody talked about it. When you say nobody talked about it, this is the point why we're talking about different types of media. No one in the Western media talked about it, but they talked about it on different stations, RT, Al Jazeera, and other media outlets. No one talked about it on the BBC, on Sky, on RTE, or whatever, because there is a different agenda that's being pushed forward. But there always has been. And now with of course, the one thing that's available now that wasn't as much in Iraq and Afghanistan is social media. People reporting on the ground, images that cannot be discredited, so... It was the British who gave the Palestinian land to Israel after World War II. Israel has been annexing land since 1956. The army man on earlier was right in a sense. Britain started all of this. They raided Muslim land and gave it to Jewish and Christian people as they felt that they deserved it. They got rid of it and gave it to them after they didn't want it. Shame they couldn't do that with Ireland, but that's another story indeed. It is another story altogether. Reece St. Joseph's. Actually, I'll stay with the situation in the Middle East. I'm listening to the radio here. I totally agree with Israel. After the war, the Jews said never again. Another, Ireland should keep out. We're neutral. We're a small island with the population of Birmingham. We're digging ourselves a hole here. We're the only country in Europe speaking out. We're putting ourselves in danger. Yes, we should condemn the violence on both sides. Other countries in Europe, like France and Germany, are on high terrorist alert. We are not. I think most people actually, even if they have issues with the government or the president, have welcomed some of the commentary, which you don't see too often. But I think there has been a broad welcome for Ireland's position on this. You know, sometimes you have to use your neutrality for what we have of it to use your voice on the world stage, you know, meaningfully, rather than a lot of the things we follow Europe on. If they say jump, we say how high. I don't think a lot of people are upset that maybe Ireland is taking its own stand in this regard. Reece St. Joseph's, I can't believe what I'm hearing. Do these people think that they need, just because they have private health insurance, they're entitled? Can they not just go to Letterkenny? She's home from Letterkenny for a week. Can she not just stay with her dad? People cannot expect a 24/7 care. They need to take responsibility. Well, the health insurance side of it is not the issue here. Everybody needs a little bit of respite if they can get it. And there are cases, I don't think we want to lose our humanity here. There are cases where it's obvious. And if it was my dad, I would understand that if he were more comfortable or comfortable at all seeking respite in a local nursing home rather than 130 kilometres up the road, I think that is, people have legitimate right to sort of say, well, that's not right, especially when there are alternatives, or at least on the face of it, there seems to be alternatives. He got just about every bit of history wrong. He's totally inaccurate in regard to the politics. The only bit he got right is that Hamas are barbaric, but it could be pointed out that their experiences at the hand of the Israelis has hardened their hearts to great hatred. Hi, Greg. That like TV in bedrooms didn't allow them. Okay. And now all grown up, they're out on their own. They don't have telly in their own home. Okay, this is parenting in terms of the phones. Greg, it shows how much the people on your show are ignorant of the facts about the Israel-Palestinian two-state solutions and have never wanted Israel to exist. That is why there were wars in 48, 67, 73 and 82, many more borders. There were solutions put to the Palestinians on numerous occasions, but the Palestinian authorities rejected them as they would fail to recognise the state of Israel. And therein lies the incredible complexity of this situation. And again, the bottom line for me is that though I see one argument one way, one argument the other, back and forth, and who does this and history and whatever, and then I say, and it comes to my mind that since October 7th, there was the awful loss of life and butchering of children in Israel. And since then, there has been equal acts of, of a barbaric nature. I don't think that's controversial, is it, to say bombing indiscriminately, killing 4,000 children in less than a month is anything other than barbaric, is it? But an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. There has to be some sort of a solution rather than arguing about who's right or wrong. There are people who aren't involved in this in an armed way dying left, right and centre. That's the thing that I can't get out of my head. And when people are discussing this, I'm like, yeah, well, what about all the people that are dead and dying and the more that will die? I mean, we can't lose sight of that, can we?
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Hi, Kate Appleby here. Just wanted to let you all know my exciting new autumn shoe collection is available nationwide in all good shoe stores. kateappleby.com. Hope you enjoy my shoes.
Do you want to take the next step in your career? At Atlantic Technological University, we can help you. Choose from over 100 courses and learn from the leaders in flexible learning. Build accredited qualifications in business, education, design, engineering, technology, science and health. From short courses to masters, study part-time in a flexible learning environment designed to suit you. Apply now at atu.ie/flexible. ATU. Develop the skills you need to stand out.
I have the right to make decisions that matter to me.
Decisions about my money, my property, where I live.
Decisions about care and medical treatment.
If I need formal supports,
the new decision support service can help.
And if I want to plan ahead,
so that my wishes are always known and respected, I could do that too.
The decision support service can help me and those close to me
to understand the options available.
My decisions
my rights.
To find out more, visit decisionsupportservice.ie.
It's not often you can have the best of both worlds. Imagine a beautiful backdrop, arguably the best in Donegal. Add contemporary Irish cuisine with scrumptious starters, mouth-watering roasts, fresh seafood and delicious desserts. Every Sunday you can enjoy the best of both worlds at the Water's Edge Restaurant Rathmullen. To book your Sunday lunch, call 074 989 1352.
Hi folks, Paul McDevitt here, inviting you to join myself and Jimmy Stafford this Monday night for a very special edition of the Monday Night Session. We're broadcasting live from the Clanry Hotel in Letterkenny as we celebrate in music the life of the late Ted Ponsonby. With an amazing lineup of artists, you're more than welcome to join us as we bring you Waking Ted. Admission is by donation and all proceeds are in aid of the Friends of the Letterkenny Hospital. The show starts at 8 p.m, so that's the Monday Night Sessions this Monday night between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. from the Clanry Hotel and live on Highland Radio.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. And I'm only back in the door after a week off, 2 hours into it. And I'm already told that I might be under threat of losing my job to my next guest, Isaac Rulston. Isaac, how are you getting on?
Good.
Good to have you with us. Thank you very much indeed. And you are here with your mum, Sinead. Sinead, thank you so much for calling in. How are you keeping?
I'm good, Greg.
All right, good stuff. Just rotate that microphone so that the black letter's facing you. Yeah, that's it. No, the other way. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Right. You're both very, very welcome. Mum, Sinead, why are you speaking to me today? Why did you want to do this?
Well, we're here to talk today about dwarfism awareness. Isaac was born with a condition called achondroplasia, and October is Dwarfism Awareness Month. So himself and his cousin Farah decided to do a raffle to raise funds for the LPI charity, which is Little People of Ireland. And it kind of spiraled from there, really, that people kind of started talking about it and stuff. And he raised an amazing amount of money for the charity, which he presented at the weekend.
And Isaac, why did you and your cousin want to raise money?
Because so then when we go, it will get us cheaper in and more families in, and they gave out money on Friday night.
Yeah, Friday night. Okay. And how did you raise the money, Isaac?
We did a raffle, me and my cousin Farah.
Right.
And we raised €2,630.
That's an awful lot of money. Just the two of you?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, and thanks to everyone who supported it, Isaac. I'm sure you want to thank them too, because that's really generous, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, that's probably the start of it now. You're probably going to do loads of that now. So, Sinead, talk to us about when you were told or it became clear that Isaac was born with achondrophasia.
Yeah. I had went for my 20-week scan, and the limbs were measuring a few weeks behind. At the time, they just thought it might just be a small baby, so they had asked me to come back in a few weeks to just do more scans. So I had went back, and the limbs were still measuring behind. So that's when we were referred to Hall Street in Dublin. And it was there that they had mentioned to us that our baby more than likely was going to be born with dwarfism. So they had done bloods that were sent to London, to Great Ormond Street, and a week later it came back. It was confirmed that our child was going to be born with achondroplasia.
And in terms then of the continued pregnancy and early life, does that create any complications for you?
None for me. No, it was a natural birth. I was able to have him here in Letterkenny, so everything that way was normal. It was just after I was born then that he had feeding issues. So he was NG fed for the first year, and he had sleep apnea, which comes part and parcel with the condition. And he has had numerous grommets put in.
Okay.
So he has hearing issues, and he's been at speech and language for his speech and stuff like that. So I suppose when we first found out, it was quite tough because we had never heard about it. a 1 in 26,000 chance of it happening to any pregnancy. And it's just a spontaneous mutation of the FGFR3 gene. So
isn't it amazing the things that all of a sudden you have to become an expert on?
Yeah, you do. You do your research into it a lot, and you find out. So at the time it was quite daunting and quite scary because we didn't know what lay ahead. But
and how soon did you sort of start, I don't know, joining any groups or seeking support?
It was Hall Street at the time had mentioned Sinead Burke to ourselves, and the LPA charity, the conventions that they run for little people. So I had, it wasn't until after I had Isaac then that I did join the group on Facebook, and then it was from there then that we kind of realised there was we were just kind of thrown into a whole other world really of we'd never ever knew about before.
Yeah.
So it
and it helps, doesn't it, to speak to others or groups that have the same experience, because obviously you know, family will support, but they don't really get it like people who get it.
Yeah. That's the whole point to the conventions, for Isaac to meet other children his same age with the condition.
How important is that to Isaac? Isaac, how did talk to me about the Little People of Ireland convention? Is this the first time you'd been there?
No.
Okay.
I've been there until I was 1.
You've been going since
wow,
you were 1,
so you've been there. My maths isn't very good. About 7 times. And come here. What did you do at the weekend? Was it nice meeting the other children?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we play a bunch of games, try and win stuff.
Did you win anything?
Yes.
Very good.
I won a Guinness World Record book, a family game, and one of my sisters won a Harry Potter jigsaw.
Yeah.
Wow. A Harry Potter. I don't like jigsaws though. I don't have the patience. Anyway, don't you ruin the jigsaw now if she gets it all gnarly filled. That happened in my house once with a 500-piece jigsaw, and I'm not sure the scars have healed yet. Sinead, how does there have to be a family history or
no? It's just a spontaneous mutation of the gene. It can happen in any pregnancy. We'd never ever heard of achondroplasia at the start. We couldn't even pronounce it. So it's just one of those things that just happen.
And presumably now you're planning for the future and you want the best for Isaac in terms of, you know, schooling and opportunities, and also I suppose, and I presume this is what awareness campaigns are about, and months also an understanding about how people treat other people.
That's
Talk to me a bit more about that.
Just really that words like name calling and stuff can affect people a lot.
Deeply.
But Isaac has a great support network, and school is just amazing with him, and he's got a great bunch of friends, so he's really happy, and you'd never see Isaac without a smile. So
and I think we as parents as well have to make sure to talk to our children about these things, don't we? About what's appropriate language, what isn't. You know, how people want to be treated or not treated any different.
His sisters is a great support to him. His older sister Ellie and stuff. So
you never fight, I presume, Isaac. You and Ellie never fight ever. No, ever, never, ever. Why are you laughing? I won't ask you to say anything because I've made that mistake before. Right, okay. Yeah, and you need that too, don't you?
You do, And the convention is great support for us as parents to talk to other parents and stuff, and even for his sisters to meet other siblings that are in the same position as them, that has a family member with dwarfism.
How common is it in Ireland?
It's probably more common than you would think, because since we've started going to the conventions, it has just been growing each year that we go. There's just more and more people there, so it's great to see so many people come.
But I often wonder too, when things are common, but you wouldn't realise they are.
Until you
where are people like? you would hope that people feel that they can and are facilitated to have full and active lives within the community. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when something is more common than it might appear, then my alarm bells start worrying, wondering, wondering, when people go to adulthood, are they out and about as much as they want to be? And do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, and I suppose it's a lot too, now that Isaac is the age he is, and there's like children wondering why he's small and things like that, for parents just to explain that everyone is different, and like Isaac's just small, and that's basically just it. He's the same as any other average height 8-year-old, and just really, it's for parents really to open children's minds and not kind of say, no, you don't ask questions.
Because it's us that plant the seeds in the children, or we don't.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? They're not born thinking.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really, really important.
Yeah.
Isaac, you would be familiar with Trinity Court, Newtown, Cunningham. I think you went there at Playgroup. When you were at Playgroup, you went to Trinity Court to help plant flowers for their older residents. And they want to say a big hello to you and thank you. So they're listening in. Is that all right? That's okay. That's for you. What do you like to do for fun, Isaac?
Farming.
You mean watch telly for 10 hours a day? Why is Mum not wanting you to say that? How many joke. I wouldn't ask my son that on the radio because I'd be afraid what they would say. You like farming, so you like animals?
Yes.
What's your favourite animals? Sheep, cattle, pigs, horses, donkeys?
Lambs.
Ah, love lambs. Yeah, okay, they're so cute and there's loads of them around now. Okay, very good. Anything you want to add, Sinead? Or is the fundraiser still open, by the way? Because
No,
I'm sure it's closed off now, isn't it?
They started the fundraiser on the 25th of October, which was World Dwarfism Day.
Mm-hmm.
And then they closed it on the Wednesday the 1st, and he presented the cheque at the weekend.
And how proud are you of the two of them?
Very, very proud of both of them, yeah.
It's a huge amount of money. And how's that money going to be spent, Sinead?
That money basically goes to the Little People of Ireland, and it subsidises part of the payment that we make to go to the convention.
Mm-hmm.
And it also runs workshops on the Saturday for us as parents to go to, and it's a lot. It tells us a lot about the condition and what resources is there and things like that. And
so it offers that invaluable support, doesn't it?
It is.
Really?
It really is.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to sort of educate us on about, without using the words, or what's the correct way to describe people, or not to say nothing, or whatever? Because people have a natural curiosity, don't they?
Yeah. Suppose, Isaac being the first way to present himself, but Little People is another way of they like to be called, and their midget and dwarf is very derogatory. It's
I think that's common sense, isn't it? But sometimes you have to check yourself, don't you?
Yeah, a lot of people do still have their jokes and stuff there, which can hurt and stuff like that. So
yeah. And we know the impact of words on young ears and how it can affect people for a very, very long time.
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't think anyone knowingly or willingly wants to upset someone, do they? You know what I mean? It's just, the word ignorance is very strong, but it really is just not knowing better.
Yes,
so that's why it's so important for you and Isaac, Isaac to come in. Isaac, is there anyone that you want to say hello to?
Yes.
Go on then, who?
My dad, my sisters, my aunties and uncles, my cousins, Heidi and Emma Doherty, and everybody who knows me.
What about Farah?
Cousin Farah.
Your cousin Farah as well? You and your buddy, your fundraising buddy. Okay. Listen, congratulations, Isaac. Well done. You did an amazing thing with your cousin in raising that money. It's fantastic, and people were really generous, but that's because they think so much of you. So well done to the pair of yous. It really is an amazing amount of money to raise, and I'm not surprised that Mum and Dad and the whole family are so proud of you. And you'll come back in, will you? Another time to visit us? But don't try and take my job, because I have a mortgage and I need to be able to pay it. So you carry on at school, and by the time you're ready, I'll be finished then, and you can just jump in here and take over, all right? Okay. All right, Isaac, it's been lovely meeting you. And again, a huge congratulations. Thank you very much, Sinead, for coming in yourself and bringing Isaac. It's been lovely meeting the pair of you. And is there anything else that needs to be said before we wrap up? I just want to make sure I didn't skip over anything. All right. Isaac, take care of yourself. Bye, Sinead. Back with more shortly.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Seasonal loans now available for Christmas. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Work was a nightmare. How about you, love?
I dropped my phone in the loo.
Disaster.
Life's discomforts are no match for the advanced comforts of the Citroën C4 and the new C4X. Hydraulic cushion suspension filters out road imperfections, while our advanced comfort seats create an experience that isn't just comfort, it's advanced comfort. The Citroën C4 and new C4X. Book a test drive today.
Enhance your skills with SafeTech's part-funded training programs. At SafeTech, we provide courses including first aid, roadworks, people moving and handling, confined spaces, electrofusion and machinery training for Ireland and UK sites. Also online programs such as water hygiene, construction supervisors, safety reps and much more. If you have a group for training, SafeTech will go to you. Contact SafeTech today at safetech.ie and take the first step towards upskilling and safety compliance.
Exciting news! Kia at iMotors are thrilled to introduce our stellar offers for 2024. Enjoy peace of mind with a complimentary service for the first 2 years, plus an additional 1 year if you're a Kia customer already. 1.9% finance on EV cars, 3.9% PCP, providing flexible and affordable payment options, and receive a €500 super value voucher when you purchase a Kia. These offers are designed with you in mind. Don't miss out. Visit iMotors today in Letterkenny and Malin.
Ho, 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 ho. Santa Claus speaking.
It's me, Santa, your trusty elf. I've got an urgent message from Cooney's Christmas shop.
Oh, my golly goodness. What's happening at Cooney's?
Well, Santa, they've gone all out this year. Their Christmas decor is bigger and better than ever.
Visit Cooney's Christmas shop, Letterkenny Retail Park, and feel the magic of Christmas. Santa approved.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. From condensing oil and HVO biofuel boilers to heat pumps and underfloor heating, you can trust Grant to heat your home. Visit grant.ie.
Okay, so there's going to be some sunshine, but occasional showers as well. Some of them will be heavy and may cause spot flooding. Temperatures of 9 to 11 degrees. We want to say good morning again to Adam Locke, St Columba's Comprehensive School, Glenties. Good morning and congratulations to you, Adam.
Good morning. Thanks for that.
How are you feeling?
Good, yeah.
Good stuff. And for those who aren't aware, Adam was a recipient of the Individual Award in the Garda National Youth Awards 2023. So this was a national competition and loads of fantastic people selected from right across the country. And Adam came out on top. And we spoke to you actually about you establishing a rugby setup at his school. Tell us a little bit about that again.
Yeah, so it was... about a year ago or so, set up the rugby club in the school. Back then, whenever I was first on, it was just me coaching it. But now we're trying to get other people coaching as well, like some of my friends and some of my teammates. We're trying to get them sent away to Ulster to get trained up, so to release a bit of the workload. But yeah, it's going well. We've got 3 age groups for the boys and 3 for the girls as well. So, and the girls have a rugby blitz coming up in December, and the boys under 14s have one coming up in 2 weeks, so it's flying.
Yeah, and you were able to lean on your experience from the Donegal Town RFC, but got the RFU involved in this as well. I mean, this is something you've put a lot of thought and consideration in to do it right.
Yeah, it takes a lot, and I get to see what my coaches in Donegal are doing, so I get to take some of that, use some of that here, and what I learned in Ulster, the coaching course, I can use some of that here as well. So I'm just picking and choosing from everyone I've learned off.
Now, I'm not sure if it was done by design or it just happened, and you can let us know, but even the person who nominated you, they were so struck by the fact that, you know, you had Ukrainians playing, you had Spanish exchange students that were overplaying, that mixed in with the hinterland of Glenties, Ardroth, Fintan and Doochery. Like, did you plan this to be as inclusive as it is, or did it sort of popularity draw people in?
Well, it wasn't really one of the main things, but whenever it all happened, whenever I seen everyone then, you know, from all areas come over, it was great. You know, like some of the Ukrainian, one or two of them wouldn't have the best English, but a lot of them, you know, they give it their best shot. You know, they're very good as well, same as the Spanish.
The international language of sport. It overcomes an awful lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, but yeah, it's great seeing everyone in it together, you know.
Yeah, of course. And where, I mean, is this just, I mean, obviously you have to go on and continue your education, Adam. I mean, you're going to leave a great legacy behind you, or you're going to try and mix your third level studies if you choose to go down that path with your work with rugby in the area?
Yeah, I'll definitely try keep rugby for third level, you know, in this area and stuff out there. You know, it's a bit early yet, but I'll definitely be trying to do that.
And who's that sitting beside you?
Oh, that's Miss Paul. She was the one who nominated me for the award. So that's big thanks to her.
Yeah, very proud, aren't we all? Very proud. It's an amazing achievement.
Hi, Greg. Yeah, it is unbelievable. I remember when this all started back in September 2022, really is when it took off. I had no idea that it would lead to having, like, we struggled to get a team of sevens for boys, a team of sevens for girls. And now we have junior girls, senior girls, under 14, under 16, under 18 boys. You know, we can even compete at 15s with some of the teams. As you said, we have people from Fintown, Letcher, Doochery, Ardroth, Glenties. There is competition there, but there's no competition when we get them all on the field together. To see then, I just seen the dedication and the maturity in Adam, the way he could command them all when he coached them. From my point of view, I loved rugby, but I doubted my own sort of coaching abilities. But as inspiration goes, I mean, I've gone on now to Ulster and I got my coaching course purely because I saw how good Adam was, and I wanted to, you know, also be a support there for him too. He's been very modest in that he has taken it, and as he has mentioned just there before, he's starting to get involved in distributive leadership now, because he's raising money along with his fellow teammates to basically send 3, 4, 5 others off to Ulster for coaching.
Wow. That's really impressive, isn't it? Yeah.
It's just amazing. It's non-stop, you know, that every time we think, right, there's nothing else this young man can do, he pulls something else out of the bag. So I was just so delighted to see him be so successful at the national awards. It's just purely well deserved.
Brilliant. And Adam, you're a great, I don't want to be patronising to you as well, but you're a great speaker and communicator. So obviously you're able to, that's to your benefit as well in encouraging and supporting others. Adam, I just wanted to bring you back on and congratulate you and the school as well, because you need to be backed up, don't you? And they've backed you up to the hills. So well done to everyone, Adam.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, just thanks to everyone who supports me along the way. And, you know, it's really just the support I'm getting is kind of keeping us going and everything, you know, just thanks to everyone who supported me.
All right, continued success. Take care of yourself. Adam Lough there from St Columba's Comprehensive School. The Garda National Youth Awards took place in Portlaoise on Saturday the 4th of November. Well done. And I want to say a very special mention as well to Mulroy College in Donegal, which got a special recognition award, and truly well deserved. And I like these awards because they genuinely do recognise the people that deserve it. Okay, so we appreciate Adam coming on, and as I say, a very special mention to everyone at Mulroy College as well, who we have spoken to in the past, of course. Right, it is the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. We're heading towards the end of the programme, but we still have more guests to introduce to you, one at least, so stay where you are. A caller says mobiles aren't the problem. White light from phones and blue light from TV stimulate the brain. It disrupts sleep. Red light relaxes the brain. I've dyslexia. Years ago, red light was used to help my learning difficulties. Studies have been done in Scandinavia linking depravity of light to depression. Use blue light for downstairs to keep you awake and red upstairs for relaxation. Indeed, okay. Thank you for that. Right, Ali Farron is the Public Relations Officer of the 100% Redress Party. I beg your pardon. He's with us now. Good morning, Ali.
How are you, Greg? Welcome back.
Yeah, it's good to be back, Ali. Thanks very much for that. Now, I suppose an important part of this whole process that has been undertaken here, there are 4 information evenings taking place across the county, starting this evening. And what are these meetings about, Ali, as far as you see it?
Well, as we talked before, we're a new party and we're setting up. And the first part of our job was to get organised and get all the documentation and all right and get our bank accounts. Now all that's done. In fact, our website went live yesterday. And so now we're at the next stage. Now we're about building a party. So we can't do it on our own. Like you need people in every parish, every townland, to come out or to be, to represent the townland so that we can fight the next county council elections, and basically get our name out there, get our candidates when they're selected out there. So lots to do, and we need help.
Yeah, and not much time to do it in. I mean, on paper, it seems like quite a long time, but the local elections are literally almost just around the corner.
They're 6 months away, and we've been at this already about 9 months before just to get this far. But listen, we expect and hope that if we can gather a bit of momentum, and get our candidates in order for just after Christmas, like all the other politicians or political groups are getting their people nominated at the moment. We're going to be a wee bit behind that, but we could be an outsider when it comes to next elections.
The meeting tonight in Letterkenny in the Station House Hotel from 7:30 to 9:30. Ballybofey in the Villa Rose from 7:30 to 9:30. Wednesday, Carndonagh 7:30 to 9:30. Thursday, Buncrana 7:30 to 9:30. You're probably not going to say, but it looks to me like you are optimistic, maybe, or even maybe it's best case scenario. 2 elected out of Inishowen, one each from Letterkenny, Milford, 1 Stranraer.
Is that what you think, Greg? Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Looks like it to me, Ali.
It'll depend on who comes on board.
Yeah.
There's other areas within the county as well, but we're going to see how these 4 information goes. As I say, it's all about getting feet on the street.
Are you looking for prospective candidates to attend these meetings?
Of course we are. But remember this: if you appear at a meeting, you might know somebody else. I don't know anybody who will jump up and down and say, I want to be a candidate. I think a lot of people will have to be encouraged, cajoled, and encouraged to speak up. It's not an easy option. Being a councillor, everybody who knows councillors they're very, very busy people. It probably takes over their life, but the issue that we're dealing with is taking over people's lives as well. And we're not getting. It looks like we're not getting the right support from a lot of people that should be delivering for us. So we need to get our voices at the table, be it firstly and foremostly in the county council.
Yeah, okay.
Hopefully people come out.
It'll be interesting. Just to remind people, the first meeting tonight in Letterkenny from 7:30 for 2 hours in the Station House Hotel. Ballybofey tomorrow from 7:30 in the Villa Rose Hotel. Wednesday, Carndonagh in the Colgan Hall at 7:30. And then Thursday, Buncrana Youth and Community Development. So if you have any interest in this, or any interest indeed in perhaps putting yourself forward, or if you think someone else might be suitable for it, all options are on the table by the sounds of things, Ali, and we appreciate your time this morning.
Greg, thank you, and thanks to all in Highland, and hopefully we'll see somebody tonight. Okay,
yep, I'm sure you will. Thanks, Ali. Ali Farron there, PRO of the 100% Redress Party, which, even if you're not affected by that or have a particular view on it, it is going to be an interesting dynamic having potentially multiple candidates vying for multiple seats. And through the course of our debates here in this show, debating with people who probably are committed to helping them as well. It's going to be just an interesting dynamic. Now, there is a very special show on tonight. It is Monday Night Sessions. It's on the road, though, and it's part of the Waking Ted event. We're broadcasting it on the radio tonight. Where is it actually? Sorry, I don't want to give out the wrong information there. But anyway, if you can go along or if you can support it, thefriends.ie, there is a donate button there. And also, it's going to be a fantastic lineup tonight. I'll give you more details. Caroline, could you just grab those details? I don't want to give out the wrong information about where it is, what time it starts at, that type of thing. Just to be on the safe side, that I don't want to do anything that disadvantages what's going to be a really, really enjoyable night. A couple of birthday requests, if that's okay. Ryan It's in the Clanry. Okay, it's in the Clanry tonight, so presumably you can pay at the door. It's donations, isn't it? It's free, but donations at the door. Okay, so get along to that. It's going to do a fantastic lineup of acts there. Ryan McMonigal in Raria, is it? In New Mills, Letterkenny. Happy 3rd birthday from godmother Fiona. And another one for you, Ryan, from Granny and Grandad Gallagher in Ballybofey. And I want to play a very special happy birthday to Susan Eveson, who's in Milford. Susan, that's coming in from Mary. We've been really busy, haven't we, with our visitors across Donegal, just some of them that have been seen. Of course, we had Johnny Walker, the big UFC star. He's going to be massive, you know. He was in the Downings area over the summer. Then we had people from the Rovers return. They were in the Railway Tavern. Mickey North, a.k.a. Gary Windass, and Tanisha Gorey. She's also, of course, Asha Allahan from Coronation Street. They popped in for Sunday lunch and poured a few pints. Bundyaki, the Irish rugby star, was pictured with some of the staff there at Kelly's service station in Carndon, and we've got some pictures of this stuff up, by the way, on our websites or our socials. And Donald Skelly spotted Tony Odenshaw, also known as Bob Hope in Emmerdale. He was spotted with his friend enjoying the Maville Green and Shore Walk yesterday. So it's like mini Hollywood here. Donnywood, what could you call it? Have you spotted anyone famous? Let us know. 086 60 25,000. Give us the goss. All right, that's where we have to leave it on the show today. Really, really busy show. So much appreciated, which means that we will carry comments over to the morning. So rejoin us tomorrow morning from 9 a.m. It's great to be back with you, back again tomorrow. But for me, Greg Hughes, and researcher and producer Caroline Orr, and Shannon also, who has joined the team today. Have a wonderful day. Stay tuned. John Breslin's coming up around